Bundy is out. The president announced that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche will now fill in as active AG.
Some huge national news there. Let's take you locally now, where in Osceola County we have some breaking news. Two cars collide and it sends one of them right into a home.
Yeah, the car then caught fire when it was inside the home. News 6's Mike Valenti joins us now live from the scene with the latest on this. Mike?
Yeah, Lisa, Matt, you want to know what happened? Just take a look behind me. You can see the damage tells most of the story. What we're told is that this started with a head-on crash, as you said, on this road, Bordeaux Road. Then one of the cars barrels into this home, stopping right up against the back of the home. I want you to take a look at this video that we obtained from someone who was on scene shortly after this happened. You can see the car on fire and a huge black plume of smoke. Osceola County Fire says two people were taken to the hospital, one person from each of the cars involved. It's not clear how exactly this crash happened, but we do know how the driver of the car into the house was able to get out.
And I was planting a flower plant. The next thing I know, a car passed me by and it hit the door and it went up in flames. And I came around to look for the driver. And we take him out.
So that is Zelina Ali Singh. She's been renting this house, living here for the last 3 years. And after nearly getting run over, she said that she went to help the driver, had the presence of mind to help the person who had just moments earlier almost ended her life. She said that she was most concerned about him in that moment. We're going to have more of that conversation. Just a remarkable story that could have ended much differently. That's coming up later tonight, 4, 5, and 6. For now, we're live in Poinciana. I'm Mike Valenti, News 6.
Yeah, Mike, when you see that house, you realize just how much damage took place there. All right, Mike, thank you. The other big story we are following today is the weather. It held up yesterday for that historic Artemis 2 launch, and we'll get to more of that in just a minute.
But we have gotten some rain today. Let's bring in meteorologist Julie Broughton, who joins us now to tell us, have we gotten I know we're in a big time drought right now. Did this help today?
It certainly could potentially be helpful, but again, we get new drought numbers every Thursday morning, so our drought has worsened from last week. But let me go ahead and show you what it looks like outside right now, because this is what we like to see. This is a look from our Lodge Credit Union camera down there at Port Canaveral. You can see those low clouds, the showers moving in. And as we show you the perspective from the radar, we actually do have some heavy rain in place across parts of Central Florida. 82 degrees right now at Cape Canaveral. Winds are gusting to 22 miles per hour. And it is that strong onshore component of the winds bringing in these showers. And anywhere we see the yellow, the red, the orange, that shows us where we are seeing heavy downpours, no lightning out there. But again, we mentioned those drought numbers. I'll break those down for you coming up in just a few minutes. But we're talking about some pretty hefty rainfall out there right now, which we like to see.
That is what we want. Julie Broughton, thank you so much. Of course, we had the big Artemis launch yesterday. Some possible complications out there now. Let's get you over to Lisa in another part of the newsroom with Jonathan Kegas.
Yeah, I'm here with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. Yesterday was just an incredible day. Earlier in the afternoon, we were a little worried about the weather, just looking at it from out the window, but everything cleared up just in time for the launch. And there have been more milestones since then and some more pivotal moments coming up.
Big one tonight. I would just say just before 8 o'clock, if all goes well again. That's kind of the last go, no-go before they leave Earth's orbit and then head towards the moon. So a bunch of different checklists again coming through, of course. We have a lot of the green check marks here. Launch, of course, happened yesterday on our Space Coast. We told you that, but that one big time. Then they had the solid rocket boosters. Those separated away perfectly. The core stage, MECO, we all know that by this point. Perigee raise maneuver happened. Then they had the apogee raise burn happen. What we had this morning was the perigee raise burn. They woke up the astronauts. They completed that. And now the big one. This is that, again, that go or no go. It's that translunar injection. So whenever you hear that phrase tonight as you watch our coverage, that is the big one. And that's what we are waiting to do or waiting to hear from. Again, that is the official go or no go. Basically, does the mission end and they come back to Earth if all of the checks for if the Orion can support the astronauts' life for the next 9 days, give or take. But it's going to be a single engine burn that sends them to the moon or brings them back to Earth. So that's going to be the question. Which one is it going to be? It only lasts a couple of minutes. It's the last major engine firing of the mission. And the rest, it's gravitational forces and then just little itty bitty burns to make sure that the capsule's staying on course.
Obviously, they're not going to take any chances,
Right.
but what a shame it would be if they could not go all the way around the moon and complete their full mission.
I know, that's the thing. Is so far so good from everything that we've heard. I got the toilet working again
That's
last night.
good.
Of course, we had
That's key.
the big issue last night. So now it's just that hopeful go that we get later on tonight before 8 o'clock.
All right, we'll be following it closely. Right now, we're going to send it back over to Matt in the newsroom.
What really is a devastating story out of Apopka. We've learned about a 4-year-old child who was hit in a driveway, went to the hospital and died. And then we learned the person who hit that little one was the mother, who is now facing some unimaginable grief, according to the family. News 6's Mark Lehman spoke with that family.
Just a heartbreaking tragedy that happened at a home down the road behind me. The family tell me they're devastated and too overcome with grief to speak on camera. They say the girl who was killed was loving and playful. They're now turning to each other in the community for support. Loved ones spent the morning consoling one another after an unimaginable loss. The gathering happening at the home where a 4-year-old was hit by an SUV in the driveway. Her father sharing these images of Kamaria Simmons, who later died at the hospital. The Florida Highway Patrol gathering evidence Wednesday evening. According to troopers, the driver, who we're learning is the girl's mother, didn't see her daughter standing next to the right rear passenger door. She started pulling out of the driveway, which caused the girl to fall and then was struck by the SUV. She was rushed to Arnold Palmer Hospital, but doctors were unable to save her. Outside the home today, a bicycle and toys are a few steps from where the tragic accident happened. FHP tells us the crash remains under investigation. Family, meanwhile, are struggling to process what happened. Kamaria's father tells me they'll likely be planning a vigil in the coming days. They're also looking into a GoFundMe page to help with funeral expenses. Once we learn details about that, we'll post it under this story on clickorlando.com. In Apopka, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Ooh, just an awful story there. Well, we just got into our newsroom, into our hands, a structural investigation by Orange County into that apartment complex that had to be evacuated. We have covered this story extensively right here in this newsroom, so let's break it down for you. County investigators found a gap between the soil and ground level concrete slabs. Those slabs were underneath the load-bearing wall between two apartment stacks, where the first calls for shifting walls came in. That gap was about 3 feet deep and 15 feet wide. And that lack of soil caused the concrete slab to move. That gap also caused inspectors to look through the rest of the building, where they found more gaps between slabs and the soil underneath. Those were much smaller, ranging from 1/2 inch up to 4 inches. The county says crews are working to install temporary supports below the slabs, and they're working to determine what caused the gaps and if more could happen. So the county is stressing the building is safe for workers. There's no concern it could collapse right now, but still not safe for people to live there. For those folks who have had to find a whole new place to live, they're still out of luck for a while.
That is just terrifying to hear because, of course, it makes you wonder, how did those gaps get there? Were they there when they built the apartment complex, or had
Or are
they
they
formed?
appearing right now?
Yes,
Yeah,
so
3 feet deep under your slab. That's scary stuff.
right, a lot more work and investigation needs to be done there. We are also getting a look at the moments that Tiger Woods was arrested after that DUI crash last week. So take a look at this video that has just been released. The Martin County Sheriff's Office released this footage showing Woods kneeling on the side of the road. Now, again, this all happened last week after the SUV that Woods was driving flipped over. Woods could be heard in the video saying he was looking at his phone and did not notice a trailer in front of him slowing down. Investigators say his car then hit that trailer and flipped on its side. Officers gave Woods a field sobriety test, which he failed, and they found hydrocodone pills in his pocket, they say. Woods has pleaded not guilty to DUI charges and bonded out of jail later that night. Well, technology plays a pivotal role, as we know, in our everyday lives, including in the jobs of police officers.
Up next, how drone technology is being used, and we'll talk about what it can and what it can't do coming up.
Law enforcement agencies around the country are turning to drones to help them find suspects and to get to scenes faster than ever. I'm Stephanie Rodriguez, your Osceola County community correspondent, and I recently went to the Kissimmee Police Department to see how officers are using this new technology. KPD is flying high.
Attention. Please exit the area immediately.
Within the last month, the agency started using drones at emergencies and crime scenes.
They are assigned to our patrol officers so that every shift, day and night, so 24/7 coverage. And these allow us to kind of have a force multiplier to provide our officers and our citizens with safety.
St. Cloud debuted its drones as first responder program last year. In Orlando, a drone tracked down a suspected burglar trying to escape on a roof. And in Lady Lake, a drone was crucial in saving the life of a man with dementia after he wandered into the night. The drone finding him in minutes.
And instead of driving around the house hoping for luck that we could find someone in the neighborhood, we use the drone because it's more efficient to find people.
So these aren't the drones that a hobbyist might fly. They can be up off the ground within minutes, and they even have the capability of being flown remotely. But there are restrictions. Police need a warrant to use a drone to gather evidence or information, but they can fly without one for large crowd monitoring, if there is suspicion of immediate danger, potential destruction of evidence, or a need to prevent property damage. They can't fly over private property without a warrant or consent, or be equipped with weapons. And while the Kissimmee Police Department is the latest to add drones, others are already expanding their fleets. Orlando recently approved just under $7 million to buy 11 more drones. Reporting in the studio, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Very interesting. Well, one of the biggest stories on clickorlando.com today, and one of the things that most people are still commenting a lot on is, of course, the historic Artemis 2 launch from yesterday.
A lot of you are still talking about it, and our guy, DJ, is listening.
Okay, of course, what everyone is talking about, that historic space launch, Artemis 2. Hundreds of thousands of people all over Central Florida stopping for just a minute to watch history happen, including many of us right here in News 6. Let me show you where we were for the launch. All right, this is the spot right here where we all gathered to watch the launch take off right about here. In fact, this is the picture I took. Unfortunately, I was a little late to the party. Had to make sure that stream on clickorlando.com was working properly. But this was just one of so many different vantage points, getting just an incredible view of this historic moment. Also, sorry for how windy it is. I put a little one of these things on here. Hopefully that's working. But as you could tell, it is really blowing out here. That said, there was really one moment that stood out to me. I shared it on our social media pages, and it seems to have really resonated with a lot of people.
Oh, wow. Oh my God.
So that post has now been seen by hundreds of thousands of people. It has hundreds of shares and hundreds of comments like these. Must be tourists. LOL. Michael, that was actually our Ginger Gadsden, who is a veteran journalist of more than a decade here in Orlando. She's also a huge space geek and one of the best people you'll ever meet. And that's why she spent all day out there Wednesday leading our coverage for that moment. Listen to it again.
3, 2, 1. Oh! Wow. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh! Whoa!
John says, how something that heavy can be propelled into space still amazes me. Tom says, I watched this live from the street where I live, seen over 100 launches live, and they never get old. Godspeed, Artemis. And Eric says, as human beings, we have such astonishing potential to accomplish so much good for humanity, and this is one of those achievements. And then this comment from Nick I really love. Hey Siri, if regular gas is $4.27 a gallon, what's rocket fuel going for? I don't know, let's ask Siri. Hey Siri, what's the cost of rocket fuel per gallon? Okay, so that answer wasn't very useful. We'll have to keep digging for that one. Anyways, did you get to see the launch? And where did you watch it from? If you go to that QR code on the screen, I'm gonna link Ginger's reaction video to that. Go there, watch the video. It's awesome, it's heartwarming. And then drop a comment with your pictures or videos for us to check out.
I think Ginger was having an out-of-body experience when that happened.
It was incredible, and as they mentioned, thousands of people, not just here in Central Florida, but all over the world,
they'll have the same
watching,
reaction.
Yes, that amazing launch. All right, well, they touched on it. DJ touched on it a bit. The war in Iran having an impact on global markets and your wallet.
Plus, how one big company is hoping to help you out with all those high prices at the pump. We'll be right back.
I'm News 6 anchor Louis Bold, and some good news for Amazon Prime members and global oil prices spike again. Let's get over to Maribel Aber in today's Money Matters. And Maribel, this is in response to President Trump's primetime speech.
It is, Louis. So global oil prices surge overnight following the presidential address on Iran. Both international and U.S. crude are trading around $107 a barrel this morning. Oil markets are reacting to signals military action in Iran could continue for weeks. Gas prices are also ticking higher. AAA puts the national average for a gallon of unleaded at $4.08. Louis.
And speaking of gas prices, Amazon is upping its fuel discount, but only for some customers.
Okay, so Amazon temporarily increasing its fuel discount for Prime members, Louis. Yep. So starting tomorrow, members can get 20 cents off a gallon through the free Earnify app. The discount is good at participating BP, Amoco, and AM/PM gas stations nationwide. Now, for family Prime accounts, the discount can be shared with one other household member over 18. The offer runs through May 29th, and details can be found on Amazon's website. You know, at last check, the national average for a gallon, again, of unleaded, $4.08. Around the Orlando metro area, it's even higher. It's $4.27, according to AAA, Louis.
And at those prices, we'll take the discounts where we can get them. Maribel, thank you.
Yeah.
Remember, to get the latest money and consumer news anytime, just head to our website, clickorlando.com.
Well, unfortunately, it's not just gas prices that are climbing right now. It's going to cost the Easter Bunny more to fill up your Easter basket this year,
huh?
right? Yeah. So the National Retail Federation says shoppers are expected to spend a record $195 per person on the holiday. That is up 4% from last year. 92% of shoppers plan to buy candy, followed by food, gifts, decorations, and clothing.
I think despite all the challenges that consumers are facing in the economy right now, they have shown again and again that spending on family and spending on loved ones is critical. They're protecting that spending.
Well, according to the most recent Consumer Price Index, it means shelling out more money, with candy costs up 11% over the past year. Meat is up 8%, baked goods and produce also on the rise. The silver lining in all this, egg prices are way down, dropping 42% from last year when the bird flu was affecting the egg supply.
Did you say $195
per person? Yes.
For Easter?
Yes.
Wow.
Open up your wallet, Matt.
What planet
or Easter Bunny.
are we on? Yes.
Well, a 2-year-old girl who was shot and killed inside her own home. Now we're getting new details into this investigation. Up next, the court documents and the evidence that helped build the case against the shooter.
Then coming up at 4, the Jaguars will soon be playing in Orlando, but not without some complications. Paramore community correspondent Jarrell Baker takes a look at the impact the move will have on the surrounding community.
By morning, the Artemis astronauts should officially be on their way to the moon.
We'll have the overnight updates on the historic mission, plus the local community fighting back against dozens of new homes.
We'll see you for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
Well, welcome back. We are following up on a big story from earlier this week. A former Seminole County public school teacher is accused of grooming and sexually abusing a former student.
So we had some more questions about this case, and we wanted to send out your community correspondent, Catherine Silver, to do some digging on it. So she joins us now live in the newsroom. Kat, what did you find?
Well, when we had heard that this now former teacher was arrested this week, we had learned from the school district that he resigned amid allegations of inappropriate communication with the students. So when we heard that, we wanted to find out what exactly did the district and law enforcement know about his behavior, his interactions with this student before he was actually arrested, because the allegations stem from a time at the end of 2023 and the start of 2024. Of course, now we are here in April of 2026. So there's this time gap. So what I did is I requested a bunch of records from the school district and some from law enforcement. We got the results of an investigative report that was done by the district's Office of Professional Standards. I've been reading through this. I also got his personnel file. There's a lot that's in the weeds here. But what we learned is that there was communication with this student. She had looked at him as a father figure. We had learned from the arrest report that he apparently was in a relationship with her mother at the time and had allegedly made statements about dating the girl's mother to get closer to her. What I've been reading through is clearly concerning what the district found, but they wrote, and law enforcement wrote as well, that what they knew at this time was that criminal charges were not warranted. There was no mention of any sexual relationship with this girl. She was 13 at the time when this happened, until we got that arrest report this week. Apparently, she told detectives this year that he had had sex with her when she was 13. So there's a lot in this report, but law enforcement clearly said nothing was criminal from what they knew.
You know, when you hindsight's 2020, clearly there were some red flags, and that's why this investigation was launched to begin with.
Yeah, and like I said, when you read it, concerning is absolutely a word that you can have. I mean, the district is clear about that. He was disciplined. They found he did violate school policy. He was investigated once. They alleged that he continued to have communication with this student after that, and even after she had transferred schools. So once again, they started looking into him, and amid some of that turmoil is when it looks like he had resigned in lieu of being terminated. That's what the district has told us. And now fast forward to this year, when we're learning about maybe some further allegations
and some new information.
As you mentioned, that former teacher, was in a relationship with that girl's mom at the time all of this was taking place.
That's what law enforcement and the district had learned.
Catherine Silver, more reports from you and what you're finding in there coming up at 5 and 6 and all that, Catherine. Thank you. To Brevard County now, where some newly released documents are revealing how detectives were able to build their case against the person accused of killing a 2-year-old.
Yeah, it is laying out evidence that investigators say ties the suspect to the killer of the little girl. And this all happened in her family's home in South Melbourne. News 6's Alex Cook has the latest.
For months, there were very few public answers in this case. Now, these newly released documents show how detectives say they pieced together the killing of a 2-year-old girl inside this home. These documents say Blesson Leitner was killed by a single close-range gunshot wound to the forehead inside the home on Poplar Lane. Detectives also say they found 6 9mm shell casings inside the home, all of them fired from the same gun. But what these newly released records really show is how detectives say this case came together over time. In a sworn interview, Blesson's surviving grandfather, Haywood Hilton, said that Clifford Long was 100% the man who shot him, shot Alicia Hayes, and killed Blesson Leitner. The documents also say investigators backed that up with cell phone data, placing a phone linked to Long near Poplar Lane minutes after the shooting. And while Long told detectives that he was at a Sunoco gas station at the time of the incident, surveillance video shows that he was here later that night, but not during the time of the murders. I also came here to the home today hoping to speak to Blesson's family after that indictment, but no one answered the door. The home appears quiet and empty. Clifford Long is now charged with first-degree murder, 2 counts of attempted first-degree murder, burglary while armed, and a possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. In South Melbourne, Alex Cook, News 6.
Just heartbreaking to hear those details and see that beautiful little girl.
Yeah, it's awful.
Well, now we want to head to a terrifying crash in Polk County that has left a Winter Park man dead. Now listen to this. This happened yesterday morning, and it happened near Lakeland. The Polk County Sheriff's Office says 44-year-old Gabriel Lorenzo from Winter Park did not see the truck in front of his truck slowing down, so he rear-ended it, and the truck that was hauling timber sent wood into the cab of his truck, killing Lorenzo. The other driver, who was from Ocala, was not hurt, and investigators say no charges are expected at this time.
When you look at that picture, it looks like a piece of wood came right out of the back of the semi and the trailer through the cab.
And it's still a part of it sticking through the windshield there.
Oh. What a horrifying set of circumstances. All right, well, Central Florida's largest school district is now being sued over the sale of a former school. We have covered this quite a bit here, talking about the Hungerford. The Association to Preserve the Eatonville Community is suing Orange County Public Schools, saying the school board secretly negotiated with Dr. Phillips Charities in the sale of that old Hungerford school property. They say they only found out from a surprise press release on September 23rd of last year, which violates state open meetings laws. They're now asking the court to void the agreements and block the sale. We reached out to the school board, but so far we have not heard back on this particular topic.
Yeah, that's an issue that's been going on for years now, what to do with that property, and it looks like the debate over that is going to continue.
It'll be tied up in courts now for a little bit at least. All right, well, President Trump is stressing the mission in Iran is almost over, but other countries in the region are saying they're not waiting to try to relieve those gas prices. So here's what we're talking about today. This is on the global scale. The UK hosting a virtual meeting with foreign ministers from around 40 countries to discuss options for reopening the Strait of Hormuz. The president has been critical of European allies, saying they just haven't done enough to try to reopen the strait. U.S. crude oil prices rising again overnight, reaching more than $110 a barrel this morning. At the pump, a gallon of regular unleaded has reached $4 nationwide. Here in Florida, it's even higher, $4.23 a gallon, up from $2.86 last month. Crazy jump. Stock market's been a roller coaster today after the president's address. The Dow plummeting more than 800 points at one point. Now look at that, down 99, a recovery of 700. The S&P and NASDAQ are also trending down, but not a horrible day, really. We'll have a better look when the market closes, which happens in about an hour.
There is some new hope for federal workers after President Trump says he plans to sign an executive order to pay all Department of Homeland Security workers, which has been a sticking point in Congress. We're talking about all of them, not just the TSA workers. The Senate unanimously voted to approve a bill to partially reopen the department, but the House adjourned until Monday without touching that bill. The Senate sent the House a bill last week, which the House refused to look at. Now, this bill is expected to be considered. The bill does not include funding for Immigration and Customs Enforcement and Border Patrol, but the president's executive order would fund those agencies. Just last week, the president signed an order to pay TSA workers, and that is something the president has teased before, and it's not clear when the order will be signed. A lot of back and forth still, of course, as always, happening in Washington, D.C.
Back and forth in Washington, D.C.? No way. It actually happens in Tallahassee as well, and this is interesting. In Tallahassee, a state rep is looking to bypass the legislature, which has been struggling to make really any decisions recently on that proposed property tax cut, and they're hoping to have it done before November's midterm elections. This could be interesting. See how it comes to pass. It's being proposed by Representative Chamberlain, who represents Bellevue. He wants to ask voters to ban ad valorem taxes on real estate from any level of government. Now here, that plan would then force the legislature to create new funding processes for police, fire departments, and schools. He says he's doing this because he doesn't expect any meaningful reform to be passed by lawmakers during a potential special session.
I'm very pessimistic about whether or not we're going to see any major, I'd love to see it, but whether or not we're going to see any major relief or anything on the ballot. It could happen, but I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of agreement in Tallahassee. The deadline to submit the required petitions to get on the November ballot has already passed, so the push wouldn't get a measure on the ballot until November of 2028. During this year's regular session, the House approved a ballot proposal to eliminate all non-school taxes for homesteaded properties, but that bill failed in the state Senate. They just can't seem to agree.
Yeah, they all talk about they want to give homeowners some relief.
But the devil's in the details on this one.
Correct, yes. Well, a crook arrested on his way to Central Florida after investigators say he took part in a multi-million-dollar heist. Doral police say 2 guys showed up to a FedEx location pretending to be the owner of a logistics company, even using a fake badge, convincing employees to let them pick up boxes of brand new iPhones and iPads in person, intercepting all those goods. They then loaded everything into a U-Haul. We're talking about some $2 million worth of electronics. Yeah. So the heist was uncovered by the business owner who they were impersonating. They found out that something was up.
FedEx notified him that the items were not going to be delivered to his warehouse. And at that point, he said, how did that happen?
Yeah, we're talking about $2 million worth of stuff. So get this. Some of the AirTags they allegedly stole helped lead officers right to the U-Haul they were using. And that, alongside license plate readers, showed the U-Haul was headed right towards Central Florida. One of the 2 suspects was arrested and is now facing grand theft charges. The other suspect is still on the loose. Don't they know better? Your phones they're watching you, they're listening to you, they're tracking you. Even the new one's still in the box.
Whose idea was it to steal a bunch of AirTags? Let's steal these tracking devices. They'll never catch us.
They'll never track us down.
What an amazing story that is. All right, well, sometimes science fiction is actually reality. So they use some crazy tech to pull over what they call a dangerous driver. This is straight out of a James Bond movie. So check this out. This is from Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office. Officials say a car was doing donuts and burnouts in active traffic and what they described as a street takeover. When deputies arrived, the car sped off, almost hitting people nearby. Look at this. You see how they did that? They used what's called the Grappler. All right, sounds like something the Hamburglar would use or something. And what is this, you ask? Apparently it's a device attached to the patrol car's front bumper, uses a net and a tether to entangle a car's rear tire. Both people in the car were arrested. Everybody was okay. I would think that would take some serious skill to get that thing onto their back bumper or their axle. Crazy.
All right. Nearly 4 decades after one of the most notorious serial killers in the world, really, was put to death here in Florida, another victim has now been identified.
Still to come, the new evidence that could bring this very cold case to an end.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Bill Ray Nissan Longwood. We do it the right way.
Let's take a live look at Daytona Beach. Man, the beach is jumping on this Thursday. I guess people are still celebrating spring break out there. Interesting day weather-wise. We have been begging for the rain. Julie Broughton, our meteorologist, joins me now, and people are getting the rain today.
Yeah, we actually have some pockets of heavy rain moving through central Florida. We were expecting that the rain chances would go up today and that coverage would go up. So that's exactly what we're seeing. Here's how it looks as we take you to the radar so we can get a little more detail on what we're dealing with. Now, we're bringing in a lot of moisture thanks to that southeasterly flow, tapping into some deeper moisture that's actually been situated over the Bahamas. Here's how it looks as we go in a little bit closer, and you can see right on top of areas like Lake Toho. That's where you're seeing some of that especially heavy rain tracking up toward Kissimmee and St. Cloud. And we always talk about the colors on the radar, so the red and the really deep reds, those shows where we're seeing about 2 to 3 inches of rain falling per hour. These storms won't be on top of you for an hour. They're moving along at a decent clip, but they are dropping some decent rainfall totals as well. As we take you a little bit farther to the north, DeLand, you've seen some heavier rain move through your area, and that's now tracking toward areas like Umatilla. Back in Brevard County, also continuing to see some of that moisture rolling on shore, and that means if you're in Cocoa right now, you are getting a decent shower out there as well. Now, this is why all this rain is important. So we get those new drought monitors every Thursday morning at 8 o'clock. Look at these numbers. So they have expanded where you see the red. That's where we're talking about extreme drought. So a lot of central Florida now under extreme or severe drought conditions. So realistically, it would take about 16 to 18 inches of rain to get us back where we need to be over the next month or so.
16 to 18?
Now, that's not going to happen, but we will take whatever rain we can get. And we get these numbers every single day, the Keach-Byram Drought Index numbers. And notice all those areas, all those counties now over 500. So that is where we are talking about needing those burn bans in place. And so we now have a burn ban in place for Lake County. So
I don't think we'd want 16 inches at a time.
We definitely would
we couldn't
not.
handle
That would be another bad situation, but we are keeping rain chances in the forecast every single day for the next several days and a front next week.
All right. And a good way to keep track of this is through our app?
Yes, it's free. So check it out. And you get that nice picture of Candace, too, you can carry around with you. Just search WKMG in your app store.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, well, police make a stunning discovery. I know you're very interested in this case. In the Ted Bundy case, a girl disappeared after a Halloween party in 1974. Now, investigators have long thought Bundy had something to do with this, and as CBS's Matt Gutman reports, they just might be able to prove it.
We now have definitive evidence proving that Theodore Ted Bundy murdered Laura, and we can announce that this case is officially closed.
For over 5 decades, Laura and Amy's family has had to live with not knowing for certain who killed their daughter. But thanks to advances in DNA testing, evidence from 1974 has now yielded an answer definitively linking Ted Bundy to the crime.
We were really close.
On Wednesday, Amy's sister spoke for the family.
It's really quite amazing that people even are still interested in Laura's case. But I appreciate it. I really appreciate the evidence team.
Bundy gained widespread notoriety through a string of gruesome murders of young women in the 1970s.
He didn't look like anybody's notion of somebody who would tear apart young girls.
His life and crimes the subject of documentaries and films. Just before his 1989 execution, Bundy admitted to murdering Amy, which brought the family some relief at the time.
Just glad it's over.
Investigators say the confession alone was not enough to close the case. Utah officials now say they believe the DNA profile in this case will help solve other cases involving Bundy.
Now, because of new technology and the ability to test very small bits of DNA, we were able to run that through a database and make a conclusive match to Ted Bundy, allowing the family and everyone else to have finality when it comes to this tragedy.
Matt Gutman, CBS News.
4 decades later. Just incredible.
How rare is it that you get real answers on a case like that all these years later?
But as they mentioned, some closure for her family. Well, weeks after the heir to a candy empire grilled a major company, it appears that they were listening. Hershey's says the chocolate in some of their products will soon be made using classic milk and dark chocolate recipes. Go figure. Those impacted products will include Reese's mini cups and shapes. No changes will be made to the full-size peanut butter cups and Hershey bars since they already use that chocolate. Now, this all comes after Brad Reese, the grandson of the inventor of the Reese's peanut butter cup, said Hershey was quietly replacing the candy's flagship chocolate and peanut butter ingredients with a, quote, compound coating and a, quote, peanut butter style cream. The changes will take effect next year.
Peanut butter style.
Correct.
It's like a
and
style,
anytime you
so-
have to use compound coating in your ingredient list, no thanks.
Yes.
Give us
we'll
the real
avoid that,
stuff. Yeah. Well, coming up, it's an inspirational story of determination, proving that you can do anything.
We'll introduce you to Miss Wheelchair Florida and the hope she is hoping to spread coming up after the break. Well, now to a really inspirational story on the other side of Florida. Miss Wheelchair Florida was just crowned. A 32-year-old from Tampa is inspiring with her story.
But her journey to today was anything but expected. Jenny Dean with our CBS affiliate in Tampa has her inspirational story of resilience, hope, and healing.
This is video from Skylar Arakawa's GoPro just 10 minutes before her life changed. She was on a hiking and rafting adventure in Colombia just months after graduating from Yale when a boulder rolled off a mountain and nearly killed her.
Cracked open her skull, crushed her lungs, fractured her spine, fractured both scapula, snapped her right thigh, and pulverized her left ankle.
I got a whole laundry list of injuries, but The most reason I'm in a wheelchair is a traumatic brain injury.
Miraculously, Skylar was stabilized in Colombia and able to be transported back to a trauma unit in Miami within 3 days.
They didn't really, medical precedent didn't anticipate that she would have a high probability of surviving this particular procedure because it was really like putting Humpty Dumpty back together again.
After that surgery, the real road to recovery began.
1, 2, and 3.
And with each month and year that goes by,
Woohoo! Skylar! Awesome!
Skylar continues to defy the odds, doing things doctors told her she never would. Her attitude and determination
Yes, Skylar!
leading the way. As time goes by, Skylar knows she'll never be able to pick back up where her life left off 10 years ago, but she's found purpose in her new life, inspiring others, most recently being crowned Miss Wheelchair Florida.
One of our big objectives is to teach children, whether they are able-bodied or disabled or whatever kind of environment, that your challenges do have the potential to become your superpowers.
And it was a boulder
tumbling down the mountain
that helped this mother and daughter find their superpowers together.
As a dynamic duo this year has really solidified us as more than just a caregiver and her child. It really has helped us bring both of our visions of helping people and making an impact together.
Whoa, together, together.
Now, if Skylar looks familiar to you, that's because she should. We have featured her several times here on News 6. She goes to Next Step Orlando, right here in Central Florida, to get some of her therapy. I actually have a copy of one of her children's books on my desk, so kudos to her.
She has a contagious smile.
Absolutely.
That is for sure. Hey, well, we know the Jags are coming here. We're talking to some of the people who live in the shadow of the stadium coming up at 4 o'clock.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
A terrifying scene in Poinciana as a car barrels into the back of this home. Coming up, we tell you about the near miss at the center of this.
Any legal advice?
Plus, a shakeup at the Justice Department. Pam Bundy is out as Attorney General. We're taking a look at what's behind the change.
The young man, police say, dumped 2 suitcases stuffed with human remains in the tall grass at the compound, is now facing a murder charge, too.
And we'll get to those stories in just a minute. But first at 4, we are tracking some scattered showers and thunderstorms right now as we take a live look at the turnpike near Kissimmee. It is coming down right now.
Let's check in with meteorologist Julie Broughton to see what this all means for your Thursday night. Julie?
We are going to continue to see these showers moving from southeast to northwest. And we were just looking at that shot there from Kissimmee. And you can see we are talking about some heavy rain, even a little bit of lightning. Only about 10 lightning strikes in the last few minutes in this particular cell. But look at this huge swath of moisture from St. Cloud over through Kissimmee, stretching over toward Davenport and Haines City. All of this is riding to the north and west, right around 10 to 15 miles per hour. And as it does so, it is dropping some heavy rain where you see the areas of red, yellow, and orange. That's where we're talking about heavy rain. At times, our radar has been indicating around 6 inches of rain falling per hour. So there could be a little bit of hail contamination in there. I don't think a lot of that hail would likely be hitting the ground. But again, it is a possibility. Now, this is moving toward Champions Gate right about now. Epcot in the next 23 minutes, the leading edge of this cluster of storms will move your way. Four Corners in the next 31 minutes and Dr. Phillips in about 41 minutes. Now, as we continue to go through the rest of the afternoon and into the evening hours, we'll see these showers pushing toward our western counties, also up in areas like the Ocala National Forest over toward northern Volusia County. You're also seeing some pockets of heavy rain. We'll talk more about where these storms are headed, and we'll also check out your holiday weekend coming up in just a few minutes.
Julie, thank you. A driver almost ran her over in her own backyard, and now that woman is speaking exclusively to News 6.
It all started with a 2-car crash that sent one car into a home. Then it caught on fire. News 6's Mike Valenti joins us live there. Mike, the damage is striking.
Quite striking, Matt, and extensive. You can see what's left behind after that car barreled into the back of this home. You take a look at it and you think, wow, things could have been so much worse.
And then the house went up in flames.
How are you feeling?
Better now.
It's terrifying.
It is. Yes, it is. It's scary.
There's no way that Zelina Ali Singh can stay in this house tonight.
Be careful. Don't come with some hot water.
But if she's worried about herself, Singh does not show it.
Everything's going to be okay.
Singh had just gotten home Thursday morning after her shift driving a school bus, and she wanted to do some gardening.
And I was planting a flower plant. The next thing I know, a car passed me by and it hit the door and it went up in flames. And I came around to look for the driver. Then we take him out.
You took the driver out?
Yeah, I helped him to come out. Yeah. He was okay too, but I opened the door for him.
That driver, according to Osceola County Fire, was in one of the 2 vehicles involved in a head-on crash on Bordeaux Road, causing one of the cars to barrel into the home that Singh's rented for the last 3 years.
Saw the car, then I looked up and I saw the fire and I ran around quickly over here.
Singh was okay, and so was her uncle, who was in the bathroom at the time. And she's hoping the best for the driver, too.
I think people listening to this would applaud you for your presence of mind in that moment to know, okay, I got to help this driver out.
Yes, I have to, because I'm a school bus driver.
As a school bus driver, Singh just jumped into action. You heard it there. So Osceola County Fire says that 2 people were taken to the hospital, one from each of the vehicles involved in the crash. Singh also said that she estimates this is going to be thousands of dollars worth of damage, but fortunately she does have renter's insurance. Again, just a near miss that we're fortunate she's okay. Of course, we'll keep you updated how the other 2 people are doing. We're live in Poinciana. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti. Back to you.
Glad she's okay, Mike. Thank you. Well, Pam Bundy is off the job as Attorney General. Today, the president announced Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche will be taking over as acting Attorney General. The president had grown frustrated with Bundy on several fronts, including her handling of records tied to Jeffrey Epstein and a lack of prosecutions targeting his political opponents. In a social media post, the president says the former Florida Attorney General has a new job in the private sector. Meantime, a key agency is approving the president's White House ballroom construction. Earlier this week, we told you how a federal judge ordered that work to be stopped unless Congress approved it. A spokesperson for the commission that approved the $400 million remodel said they voted on it because the judge's ruling impacts construction, not the planning process. Despite the agency's approval, the judge's ruling and a legal fight over the ballroom could stall progress.
Now to upgraded charges in a gruesome discovery at an abandoned place that's become infamous for finding dead bodies. On Monday, your Palm Bay community correspondent James Barbero told us suitcases with human remains inside were found in that area. Tonight, we now know a teenager is accused of murder.
The young man, police say, dumped 2 suitcases stuffed with human remains in the tall grass at the compound, is now facing a murder charge, too.
Go ahead and bring up Lucas Jones.
For the second time since last Saturday, 19-year-old Lucas Jones was arrested and brought here to the Brevard County Jail. Thursday afternoon in the jail courtroom, Jones looked at my camera, raised his eyebrows, and shook his head just before Judge Thomas Brown ruled to keep the teen in jail this time without a bond.
You've now been arrested on a new charge of murder, I believe first degree.
So to this point, police have told us the facts. They say backup charges against Jones, like abusing a dead body, but a new arrest affidavit still isn't available. So we don't know yet how police say Jones killed Collie Daniel. Jones and Daniel lived close to one another in Indy Atlantic, and back on March 20th, Jones's girlfriend told police she saw Daniel at Jones's house in Jones's bed, but she wasn't sure whether he was sleeping or unconscious. When police found the suitcases, they say along with the remains, which took days to confirm were Daniel's, a package with Jones's name on it was in one too. Police say they also found a knife in a suitcase, which was the same kind as another knife they found at Jones's house, which police say had bloodstains in it. And this new murder has revitalized the debate over developing Palm Bay's compound finally. You can watch my coverage earlier this week on clickorlando.com to see where Palm Bay's progress stands on that. We're also going to put on our website the facts behind Jones's murder arrest as soon as the new affidavit is available. In Brevard County, I'm your Palm Bay community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
Now to a devastating situation in Apopka. Troopers say a mom didn't see her 4-year-old near her SUV when she hit and killed her while trying to back out of the driveway. The girl's father says the mom is now in the hospital dealing with unimaginable grief. News 6's Mark Lehman spoke with the family.
Just a heartbreaking tragedy that happened at a home down the road behind me. The family tell me they're devastated and too overcome with grief to speak on camera. They say the girl who was killed was loving and playful. They're now turning to each other in the community for support.
Loved ones spent the morning consoling one another after an unimaginable loss. The gathering happening at the home where a 4-year-old was hit by an SUV in the driveway. Her father sharing these images of Kamaria Simmons, who later died at the hospital. The Florida Highway Patrol gathering evidence Wednesday evening. According to troopers, the driver, who we're learning is the girl's mother, didn't see her daughter standing next to the right rear passenger door. She started pulling out of the driveway, which caused the girl to fall and then was struck by the SUV. She was rushed to Arnold Palmer Hospital, but doctors were unable to save her. Outside the home today, a bicycle and toys are a few steps from where the tragic accident happened. FHP tells us the crash remains under investigation. Family, meanwhile, are struggling to process what happened.
Kamaria's father tells me they'll likely be planning a vigil in the coming days. They're also looking into a GoFundMe page to help with funeral expenses. Once we learn details about that, we'll post it under this story on clickorlando.com. In Apopka, Mark Lehman, News 6.
We are now seeing the body cam video showing the moments officers arrested Tiger Woods after a rollover crash.
Looked down my phone, and all of a sudden, boom.
You can see Woods kneeling next to the road where his SUV flipped over after hitting the trailer of another vehicle. It happened on Friday on Jupiter Island. Woods denied consuming alcohol and blew a 0 on a breathalyzer test. Police say they found the opioid hydrocodone in his pocket, and he failed a field sobriety test. The 50-year-old has pleaded not guilty to DUI charges.
Well, now that the Artemis moon rocket is off the ground and astronauts are up in Earth's orbit, it's time for the next big challenge of their historic mission toward the moon. In just a few hours, just before 8 tonight, the crew is expected to perform a critical burn known as the translunar injection burn. This will literally make or break the entire mission. News 6 meteorologist Jonathan Kegas has been monitoring everything leading up to this all-important maneuver. Jonathan.
Yeah, guys, and there's the fork in the road right here. If we take a look at the map, is they've been in that lower Earth orbit, and there is the orbit for Earth, and it's going to be this. If they fire those engines, they are going to the moon, and that is kind of the point of no return. The mission is a go, and they are headed in that direction. Now, since the launch from Kennedy Space Center last night, astronauts have been in that holding pattern, but they've been checking to make sure that Orion can support life beyond that lower Earth orbit. Waiting for that single engine burn, though, that will either send them to the moon or end the mission early. So flight controllers on the ground will decide whether the system is healthy enough to commit to send to the crew on that 250,000-mile trajectory that can not turn around until that 8 to 9 day point from now, and when they get those guys and gals back to Earth. No human has crossed that line, of course, since 1972. So if the burn goes well, the spacecraft loops around the far side of the moon, and then that free return trajectory brings the crew back to Earth. If the burn happens and goes wrong part of the way through, the trajectory may not close properly. So it is critical. If mission control identifies a problem before the burn, the crew stays in Earth orbit and then comes home. Again, that burn is expected to happen tonight just at 7:49. I'm going to keep monitoring all of this leading up to that time. I'll have another update for you guys coming up in about an hour.
Well, a city audit sparks a meeting that runs until 2 a.m.
Now there are accusations against the auditor, and we're looking into the purchases he calls questionable as the state prepares its own review.
The Jacksonville Jaguars will be coming here to Camping World Stadium for the 2027 season, but that also means a lot of traffic will be coming right over here in the Paramore area. We'll tell you more about that coming up.
What's up, insiders? This week, we're at the Avian Reconditioning Center getting up close and personal with some birds of prey. I'm holding a dinosaur.
Kara with the Kara.
See all of my photos and all of the incredible birds we saw, go to clickorlando.com/insider. I'm sorry I moved my hand on you. Signing up to be an insider is free, easy, and the only way you can keep up with our adventures throughout Central Florida. And don't forget to nominate your favorite teacher for the new 6 Educator of the Week Award, sponsored by Osborne, Francis, and Pettis Law Firm.
The Jacksonville Jaguars coming right here to Camping World Stadium in 2027 is excitement for a lot of people, but it also means a lot more traffic coming into the area for people who live right next to Camping World Stadium. I'm your Paramore community correspondent, Jarrell Baker. Now, I spoke with some residents who say they're happy, however, they are worried about all the crowd that the events will bring. Tamara Frazier says this is already reality in her neighborhood. Streets filled in Paramore, traffic backed up for hours during major events at Camping World Stadium.
I typically try to steer away from it just because there is bound to be standstill or just stop streets.
She says what should be a quick trip can turn into a 20-minute delay or longer. And with the Jacksonville Jaguars set to play 10 home games here next year, she's hoping city leaders are already making plans.
Just the events and the influx of traffic that comes during these times, I do think there's opportunity for expansion just to help relieve that.
St. John Baptist Church is right up the street from the stadium.
We just had an event last Tuesday, and they had this soccer game at the stadium. And a lot of my members couldn't get here because the roads was blocked.
Pastor Rawlins Frazier says game days could bring opportunity like extra parking revenue, but also challenges.
So it's going to be a major impact on us as far as my members getting here early enough for we won't be bogged in the traffic. So hopefully I can work something out with the city, or we can sit down and talk.
We reached out to the city about their plans to mitigate traffic, and once we hear back, we'll let you know. I'm your Paramore community correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
All right, we want to check in now with meteorologist Julie Broughton. You are tracking some rain, even some storms on the radar right now.
Yeah, especially for our friends down in Osceola County right now. But remember, we desperately need this rain. We got new drought numbers this morning, which I'll show you in just a moment. But first, here's what's happening right now as we head toward the afternoon drive time. Starting to see some heavier rain now moving into Brevard County as we go in a little bit closer. Some of this heavy rain sitting right on top of Port St. John. And then some of the most intense activity we're seeing right now is down in Osceola County. You can see just a huge swath of heavy rain from Harmony up through St. Cloud. That tracks up toward Kissimmee, Johnson, and moving up toward the Four Corners area. Now we have the radar zoomed in, so we're not seeing a whole lot of lightning in this, but I was checking out the rainfall reflectivity rates as well as how much rain we could be seeing per hour in some of these cells. So we could be talking about a couple of inches per hour coming down in some of these heavier showers right on top of the Champions Gate area. All this moving off to the north and west, so that means that we'll be tracking up into southern Lake County as well as we move through the next half hour to 45 minutes. Up in Volusia County, mainly some light to moderate rainfall. And again, all of this is going to continue tracking off toward our western counties. Here's how that looks for us on the clouds and rain forecast, taking you through the rest of our afternoon. So by 6 o'clock, I think from Leesburg up toward the Villages and Ocala, right along I-75, seeing some of that heavier activity. 8 o'clock, again, most of this is to our west. By 10 o'clock, as meteorologist Jonathan Kegas is here with you, I think we'll see partly cloudy skies. And then through the overnight hours, I think we'll stay mostly dry, keeping it partly cloudy. And then we actually begin to trim our rain chances back just a little bit during the day tomorrow to about 20 to 30%. Here's what's happening for us right now as we take a live look outside from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera. A whole lot of thick cloud cover out there, showing we have a lot of moisture hanging around in the atmosphere, producing some of those showers. 80 degrees right now in Orlando, 72 right now in Kissimmee, so you have that rain-cooled air in place. It is 82 in the Villages, and 84 right now in Wildwood. Now we're seeing our winds generally out of the southeast, so still that onshore component to our winds, tapping into some moisture we've seen over the Bahamas, bringing us those showers. Winds right now are gusting up to around 25 miles per hour in Miko, and you are seeing 33 mile per hour gusts right now in Kissimmee. Your hour-by-hour forecasting and keeping some showers in the picture through 7 o'clock. By the way, this is Ozzy. Isn't he beautiful? 75 degrees at 8 o'clock. Head to clickorlando.com/pins to share your pet photos with us. Now, we got an updated drought monitor this morning. We get it every Thursday morning. Just about all of Central Florida under either extreme or severe drought conditions. So again, we need that rain in here. And as we head into next week, we're tracking a front that will also bring us some rain. So the potential, we could pick up anywhere from around 1.5 inches to 3 inches of rain over the next 7 days, according to some models. 7-day forecast shapes up like this for us. We go into the upper 60s overnight tonight. Tomorrow, rain chances are at 30% with a high of 86 into your Easter weekend. Some afternoon showers up to 87 degrees by Easter Sunday. Then that front comes in, elevating our rain chances for Monday and Tuesday and also cooling us down for Tuesday and Wednesday.
All right, Julie, thank you. The FDA just cleared a new weight loss pill.
We'll explain how it works and the results from the trial. That is next. The FDA has approved the new weight loss medication in pill form, potentially expanding access for people who just don't like needles.
CBS News Chief Medical Correspondent Dr. John LaPook explains everything you need to know.
The Eli Lilly drug Foundayo is the second oral GLP-1 for weight loss and the first that does not need to be taken on an empty stomach.
So we want to make treatment of obesity as simple and easy for people as possible.
Dr. Daniel Skowronski is the company's chief scientific officer.
It really fits into people's lives in the same way that medicines they take for other conditions on a daily basis could fit in. That's a big advance.
In a large clinical trial, Foundayo lowered body weight from an average of 7.5% at the lowest dose to 11.2% at the highest. Current injectable GLP drugs can lower weight by about 15 to 20%.
Do you think people are going to switch from the injectable format?
There may be some people who don't like taking a weekly injectable, but I think the big opportunity here is to democratize treatment of obesity for more patients, people who haven't had access to the injectable or haven't wanted to be on it, to introduce them to the pill and start them on therapy.
The most common side effects were gastrointestinal. About 10% of those taking the highest dose stopped because of side effects.
Weight loss for so long.
I felt stuck.
Lilly says it will start shipping Foundayo on April 6th, and pricing will be in line with other GLP-1 options. For people without insurance, the drug cost will start at $149 per month, going as high as $349, depending on dose. For Medicare patients, monthly cost is expected to be $50, and for eligible people with private insurance, as little as $25.
One drawback to the GLP-1 drugs is that people tend to regain weight when they stop the medication. That raises a big question. As we treat millions of people at a cost of billions of dollars, what's the strategy for preventing future generations from becoming obese in the first place? Dr. John LaPook, CBS News, New York.
That is a good question. If people gain the weight once they're off of it, what happens then? Well, the Orlando Magic just hit a new low at home, and it couldn't come at a worse time.
What went wrong, and what does this all mean for the team that's coming up?
We have new documents to show you from the audit into the Daytona Beach City Fire Department. I'm Molly Reed. Coming up, we'll tell you what the auditor shows us that he says is a misuse of funds.
Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now.
In Poinciana, a head-on crash between two cars ended with one crashing right into a house, then catching fire. The crash happened near the intersection of Bordeaux Road and Alsace Drive this morning. 2 people were sent to the hospital. No one in the home was hurt. A man arrested after human remains were found in an infamous area known as the Compound in Palm Bay is now facing murder charges. 19-year-old Lucas Jones was rearrested yesterday. Police tell us he killed 28-year-old Kali Lee Daniel, then left the remains in suitcases in the undeveloped area. In Apopka, troopers say a 4-year-old was hit by a car last night in a driveway off Robinson Avenue. She later died at the hospital. FHP says the driver was that girl's mother. The girl's father says her mom is dealing with unimaginable grief tonight. The family is now turning to each other and the community for support.
The Daytona Beach city auditor is addressing concerns and accusations thrown at him after presenting his findings to the city commission. It's all over $500,000 in spending by the Daytona Beach Fire Department. His audit started in the fall when some city employee whistleblowers brought concerns to elected officials. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed spoke with the auditor today.
The city auditor here in Daytona Beach is going department by department with his audit, and he started with the fire department. He presented his findings to the city commission here last night and says he was surprised by the line of questioning thrown at him. He gave us more documentation today. He says backs his investigation.
The message is clear. You need to push back an auditor. You need to question audit finding. Not you need to implement corrective action.
City Auditor Albert Bellichew says these emails he gave me show he sent the fire chief and city manager his findings back in February and told them to reply with questions or concerns. He says neither did, but Wednesday night,
the seemingly subjective report furnished by the city auditor unfairly and potentially negligently disparages and brings harmful discredit upon the men and women of the fire department.
His presentation of the findings to the city commission led to visibly high tensions in the meeting that went until almost 2 a.m.
You put it out there that it's questionable, and then you don't come back and say, I'm going to follow up on this. And that looks shady to me.
Bellichew's report shows between 2021 and 2025, he found about $500,000 charged to city purchasing cards or P cards, largely for vehicle repairs and fuel, which is against city rules. He also flagged 14 employees taking city cars home with no mileage logs, more than $50,000 spent on fast food by fire leadership, hundreds of purchases with missing receipts, $50,000 in unexplained tech buys, and what he called questionable purchases. He sent us today dozens of receipts for the ones turned in too that he used for documentation. Bellichew recommended updating and tightening policies for proof of spending.
My job will be to highlight some of the things I highlight for improvement of internal control. I'm not a prosecutor. I cannot prosecute people. I am not a detective.
And the state is conducting its own audit that, I'm told, should be finished within the next couple of months. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Troopers are investigating a crash involving a pickup truck and a lawnmower. A man died at the scene. Troopers say it happened last night near Northwest 118th Street Road and Northwest 55th Court Road in Marion County. That's west of I-75 near Reddick. Troopers say the driver of a pickup truck lost control while making a sharp turn. That's when the truck hit a street sign, then hit the man on the lawnmower and crashed into a tree. The man on the lawnmower died. The pickup truck driver is at the hospital for treatment.
New at 4, new charges announced as Flagler County investigators work to figure out how a missing 11-year-old ended up in a registered sex offender's truck. So we've just learned investigators have tacked on a new charge for 15-year-old Junior Bishop. Investigators now say that teen helped Darnell Hairston, who is a registered sex offender, kidnapped a child. Hairston is accused of physically abusing the boy. Bishop is already facing charges related to the December traffic stop at the center of all this. Deputies say this dash cam shows Bishop speeding away from the stop and later crashing the truck. He is being charged as an adult.
We are learning the charges are now dropped against a Seminole County teacher accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a former student at Crooms Academy. In February, Seminole County deputies arrested Mackenzie McLean, who faced sex and drug charges. Last week, the state attorney's office said a third person who witnessed the relationship confirmed the former student was already 18 years old and that the encounters happened in the summer after graduation. It goes on to say that McLean also denied providing drugs or alcohol to a minor and that there is not enough evidence to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt.
A Florida lawmaker is intending to bypass the legislature for Governor Ron DeSantis' property tax cut proposal through a citizen initiative process. So this week, State Rep Ryan Chamberlain says he wants to ask voters to ban ad valorem taxes on real estate from any level of government. The plan would then force the legislature to create a new funding process for police, fire departments, and schools. Chamberlain doesn't expect lawmakers to pass any meaningful reform during a potential special session.
I'm very pessimistic about whether or not we're going to see any major, I'd love to see it, but whether or not we're going to see any major relief or anything on the ballot. It could happen, but I'm not feeling it.
The deadline to submit the required petitions to get on the November ballot has already passed, so Chamberlain's push wouldn't get a measure on the ballot until November of 2028. During this year's regular session, the House approved a ballot proposal to eliminate all non-school taxes for homesteaded properties. However, the Senate did not go along with that plan.
President Trump delivered a primetime address to the nation last night to discuss the latest in Iran. He did not mention boots on the ground, but said Operation Epic Fury is almost complete. CBS's Natalie Brand has more from the White House.
President Trump once again said the mission in Iran would be over soon.
We are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We are going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks.
In his primetime address Wednesday, he did not reveal much new information, but again gave his justification for the conflict.
For these terrorists to have nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat. The most violent and thuggish regime on earth would be free to carry out their campaigns of terror, coercion, conquest, and mass murder from behind a nuclear shield.
Overnight, Iran launched a new volley of missiles at U.S. partners in the region. And the regime is threatening even more forceful, broader, and devastating attacks.
President Trump has been highly critical of NATO allies for not helping to secure the Strait of Hormuz. Today, the UK is hosting a virtual meeting of foreign ministers from around 40 countries to discuss options for reopening the strait.
We have seen Iran hijack an international shipping route to hold the global economy hostage.
The UK says military planners are working on a plan for the strait after the fighting has stopped. President Trump says the U.S. will be helpful, but says others should take the lead in protecting the key waterway.
We don't have to be there. We don't need their oil. We don't need anything they have, but we're there to help our allies.
Thursday morning, the price of U.S. crude oil rose 10% to more than $110 a barrel. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
And gas prices are slightly more expensive today. AAA reports the national average now sits at $4.08 a gallon. That is 2 cents higher than yesterday. In Florida, we are at $4.23 for a gallon of regular. Marion County has the most expensive gas right now in Central Florida at $4.28 a gallon.
Well, Orlando Magic fans, we're in our feelings today a little bit. The team suffered an embarrassing loss at home last night against the Hawks at precisely the wrong time.
Kind of used to those feelings, though, by now. Sports director Jamie Say is here. And Jamie, you have been covering this team for a long time.
Yeah, for 15 years I've covered this team. I've covered them during a lot of losing seasons when those teams didn't have the talent that this current Magic team has. But I don't recall those past teams losing one game by 52 points and then 3 days later losing another game by 29 points. This week has really been shocking. Last night, the Magic lost at home to Atlanta by 29. Head coach Jamal Mosley had some choice words describing the outcome.
You know, you got to give Atlanta a ton of credit. They have our number in this moment, and they kicked our ass, and that's what it is right now.
So let me show you what he's talking about, okay? Magic had a 3-point lead over the Hawks after one quarter last night, and then the guys broke down on defense, allowing Atlanta to pull ahead and pull away. The Magic missed 26 threes, turned the ball over 19 times. They were out-rebounded, and they lacked defensive effort. That's the worst of all. They lost 130 to 101 to Atlanta 3 days after they lost in Toronto by a franchise worst 52 points. Magic addressed the effort last night after the loss.
Did we put out the effort that we needed to? Did we have the energy that we needed to? Nope.
I think part of it is strategy and X's and O's, and then I think the other part is just mentality, just having pride out there, remembering that it's a blessing to be out there on the court, and to be honest, I don't think we've been doing that consistently.
We deserve to play harder and fight from the beginning of the game, not when we're down 20. These fans deserve that, without a doubt. You put that jersey on, that's how you need to play from the beginning of the game to the end of the game.
So everybody has tough days at work, right?
Oh,
But the edict is you have to play hard on the home court. And there were some boos last night against the Magic on their home floor. The Magic dropped to 9th place in the Eastern Conference, really lost opportunities this week against Toronto and Atlanta. They do visit Dallas tomorrow, but there's only about a half dozen games left before the playoffs. Magic in the 9th spot. Right now, they're looking at the play-in tournament instead of being above the line in the playoffs.
I've heard some fans feel like Jamal Mosley has lost the team.
That could be the problem. I'm not going to comment on that, but the Magic won't say that. But obviously there's some sort of disconnect about what is being spoken in the media, in press conferences, to some of the efforts recently on the floor, especially defensively. This is one of the best teams in the NBA last year on defense, and that has really gone in the tank this whole season.
We had such high hopes coming into this season. We had such high
every
hopes.
season.
No, not every season. This season,
no, this
they had the talent.
right. This season, I mean, injuries have certainly had an impact on this team. But you can always play hard. You shouldn't be backpedaling on defense all the time. They did get Franz Wagner back last night for the first time in a long time. They're waiting on a couple of other guys. But again, playoffs are right here. Postseason's right here. They need to start playing their best right now, and they haven't.
Thank you, Jamie.
Yep. All right. A Central Florida city is on the verge of putting a ban on new medical marijuana dispensaries.
The evaluation behind the move and what you need to watch out for, that's coming up.
Plus, police drones are now answering calls before officers do. How officers are expanding this tech and the rules they must follow. That's next.
It's no surprise the way police catch criminals is getting more and more advanced. Law enforcement agencies around the country are turning to drones to help them find suspects and to get to scenes faster than ever. I'm Stephanie Rodriguez, your Osceola County community correspondent, and I recently went to the Kissimmee Police Department to see how officers are using this new technology.
KPD is flying high.
Attention. Please exit the area immediately.
Within the last month, the agency started using drones at emergencies and crime scenes.
They are assigned to our patrol officers so that every shift, day and night, so 24/7 coverage. And these allow us to kind of have a force multiplier to provide our officers and our citizens with safety.
St. Cloud debuted its drones as first responder program last year. In Orlando, a drone tracked down a suspected burglar trying to escape on a roof. And in Lady Lake, a drone was crucial in saving the life of a man with dementia after he wandered into the night. The drone finding him in minutes.
And instead of driving around the house hoping for luck that we could find someone in the neighborhood, we use the drone because it's more efficient to find people.
So these aren't the drones that a hobbyist might fly. They can be up off the ground within minutes, and they even have the capability of being flown remotely.
But there are restrictions. Police need a warrant to use a drone to gather evidence or information, but they can fly without one for large crowd monitoring, if there is suspicion of immediate danger, potential destruction of evidence, or a need to prevent property damage. They can't fly over private property without a warrant or consent or be equipped with weapons.
And while the Kissimmee Police Department is the latest to add drones, others are already expanding their fleets. Orlando recently approved just under $7 million to buy 11 more drones. Reporting in the studio, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Time now to get a check of that weather. We are seeing some rain today in a large swath of Central Florida. Yes, we do. Meteorologist Julie Broughton, where's it at?
Well, we've got a lot of rain out there, stretching from Brevard County over through Osceola County, now moving up into Orange County as well. So a good chunk of Central Florida getting in on some of that rain. Now, we were anticipating that rain coverage would be higher for us today than we've seen the last couple of days. Not a whole lot of lightning out there, but as we go in a little bit closer in Brevard County, you're seeing some heavy rain and some lightning just off to the west of Indian River City. All this is moving up to the north and west, up towards Southmere. Also seeing some pockets of those heavier showers. As we head farther toward our interior spots, it's where we're still seeing some heavy rain over parts of Osceola County, now stretching up into southern Lake County. We can go in a little bit closer for you and show you what you're dealing with in that area. Of course, we're heading into the afternoon drive time, so we are talking about wet roads in areas like Kissimmee, Campbell, St. Cloud, Harmony seeing some of this. Back toward Hullapaw, you're dry right now, but along the turnpike, you have some rain off to your south. Taking over toward Four Corners, also seeing some of that, as well as up toward Barry and Claremont. Now, we're not talking about any severe storms out there, but we are seeing some heavy downpours, a little bit of lightning and some gusty winds, a possibility in some of these showers as all of this continues tracking toward our western counties. As we loop the radar for you over the last hour, we can see that general motion in the atmosphere pushing those showers off to the north and west. Here's how that looks. Here is our west coast sea breeze, so we may see some interaction between the east coast and west coast sea breezes. That will likely happen off to the west of I-75. Here's how everything should play out as we head through the next few hours. Clouds and rain forecast showing by 7 o'clock. We still could be talking about some heavier rain near the villages. Then I think as we move through the overnight hours, we keep it partly cloudy. Most of us start our Friday dry, and then we'll see just a few isolated showers as we head through the afternoon tomorrow. Now, water vapor imagery showing us what's happening in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere. Notice the areas of green. That shows us where our strong winds from the east and southeast have been tapping into that deeper moisture down over the Bahamas, bringing us some clouds and some rain. Launch Credit Union camera for us showing 81 degrees right now in Port Canaveral, 70 in Kissimmee where you're dealing with that rain, 80 in Orlando and DeLand. You're seeing some rain right now as well. You are sitting at 73 degrees. Here's your hour-by-hour forecast featuring Toby Keith, ready for the Easter Bunny, or maybe Toby Keith is the Easter Bunny. 77 degrees at 7 o'clock, 75 degrees at 8 o'clock. Head to clickorlando.com/pins to share your pet photos with us. Now, we are tracking our next front, which moves in Monday into Tuesday. Here's a look at the clouds and rain forecast. Again, some of the models differing on exactly how much rain we could see with this. But again, our rain chances stay elevated as we enter the beginning of next week. Now, this weekend for your Easter, you'll see some isolated showers in the afternoon with highs near 90. But that front brings a cool down for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
All right, Julie, thank you. One local city could hit pause on new medical marijuana shops.
A ban is on the table tonight. What changed since leaders first approved the dispensaries? That is coming up.
Here's a good one. So, can you sleep in your car in Florida? Short answer, but don't get too comfortable. Yes, there's no statewide law that says you can't catch a nap in your car if you're legally parked. And honestly, if you're tired, I'd rather you actually pull over before you cause a crash out there, right? But here's where it gets a little tricky. Location actually matters. A lot of cities have local ordinance that say no sleeping in vehicles on public streets or parking lots. So what's legal in one spot could actually get a knock on your window somewhere else. Rest areas, sure. A quick nap, no problem. Just don't turn it into a full overnight stay. And here's the big one. If you've been drinking, don't even think about it. You can still actually catch a DUI just sitting in the driver's seat with those driver keys close to you. So bottom line, nap smart, park legal, keep it short, because right here in Florida, even sleeping comes with some rules. If you got a traffic safety question you want me to answer it, head on over to clickorlando.com/askTrooperSteve.
The leaders in Eustis are thinking about banning any new medical marijuana dispensaries.
They are set to talk about it in a little more than an hour. The city began allowing the businesses back in 2020. They were classified as pharmacies. But now the city council is taking another look. After doing an evaluation, leaders are considering a citywide ban. Existing stores would be allowed to stay open. Tonight's meeting starts at 6 o'clock. News 6 at 5 is up next.
A new report now detailing what could have caused the sudden evacuations at a local apartment complex. Coming up, what investigators say is causing the cracks in the Rialto building and what the timeline is for a potential fix. And a teacher arrested after apparent warning signs years ago. Coming up, your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver goes through the documents, what the records just uncovered about a local teacher facing sexual battery charges.
Now at 5, a former teacher's alleged secret life now under investigation. We're digging through the new filings just released after he was accused of having a sexual relationship with a student. Plus,
and I was planting a flower plant. The next thing I know, a car passed me by and it hit the door and it went up in flames.
A fiery crash into a local home inches away from hitting the woman who lives inside. The questions we're asking about what caused this. And NASA's 4-person Artemis flight crew in a waiting game ahead of a major decision that could make or break the mission to the moon. We're live with updates. You're watching News 6 at 5.
And now at 5, the rain is headed across most of Central Florida, but if you're headed outside, you might want to be prepared.
Yeah, let's take a live look at the turnpike near Kissimmee right now. It is wet on the road. Some drivers are having pretty soggy commute at the moment. Meteorologist Julie Broughton is standing by, tracking those showers for us. And Julie, you're also seeing some lightning out there.
Yeah, we're starting to see some lightning picking up in some of these showers and storms, especially in southern Lake County. Here's what it looks like as we scan out across all of central Florida. Now, I do have the lightning detection data on for you. We're not talking about a lot of lightning, 12 lightning strikes in that last scan. But as we go in a little bit closer, I can show you who has seen some of the most intense activity. And really from about Kissimmee on up into southern Lake County up toward Claremont. That's where we're seeing some of the heaviest rain in place. And this is all lifting off to the north and east. Claremont, you've seen some of this activity picking up, a decent amount of lightning in there right on top of Orange Mountain. We're not talking about any severe storms out there right now, but these showers are putting down a lot of rain. Radar indicating we could be seeing between 2 and 3 inches of rain per hour and some of these heavier cells. And again, we're seeing some showers from around Titusville on up through Deltona and up toward Palm Coast. As we head through the next couple of hours, I think most of this will transition off to our western counties. Light Orlando delivering Hope Together camera showing we are seeing a lot of moisture out there in the form of those clouds with some rain officially at Orlando International Airport sitting at 76 degrees. Now coming up in just a few minutes, meteorologist Jonathan Kagis will be with you. He will time out the rest of your evening and take a look ahead to our Easter weekend.
Julie, thank you. New at 5 now. Another development in what has been an execution case we have rarely seen here in Florida. We're now learning that James Duckett, the former mascot cop convicted of raping and murdering a child, will not be executed before his current death warrant expires. Remember, Duckett was supposed to be put to death by lethal injection back on Tuesday. But last week, the Florida Supreme Court delayed it for further DNA testing, which came back inconclusive. The defense wants to have the tested DNA analyzed again. The state wants to move forward with the execution. The Florida Supreme Court today gave Duckett's team until April 7th to make their case on the merits. The state response to that brief is due the next day, April 8th, which is again outside of the death warrant window, meaning Governor DeSantis will have to sign a new death warrant once everything is resolved, contingent on if Duckett's conviction is upheld. We'll continue to follow this story closely. Well, internal records obtained by News 6 show the Seminole County School District and the Sheriff's Office investigated a now former teacher's relationship with a student 2 years before he was arrested.
This week, we learned the former teacher is accused of sexual battery and grooming a girl when she was a student at Tuscaloosa Middle School. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver has been following this story since it broke on Tuesday. She has the documents with all the new details.
When we found out Daniel Lelieve had resigned amidst allegations he was having inappropriate communications with a student, we wanted to find out exactly what the district knew about his behavior when this alleged relationship took place. These documents we obtained through a public records request have the answer. This week, Daniel Lelieve was arrested by Oviedo police on charges including sexual battery. But in 2024, he was a teacher at Tuscaloosa Middle School, where he's accused of grooming a girl while dating her mother. This investigative report shows Seminole County Public Schools was aware about his interactions with the teen that same year, and they asked him about them. Specifically about how he had become a father figure to the girl, how he showed her special attention and bought her gifts, and frequently communicated with her through emails and video games. The report says Lelieve admitted the optics of his actions did not look great. He was disciplined by the school board for breaking policy and suspended for 3 days, which is noted in this letter from the superintendent. But the district's investigation didn't stop there. The next month, the report says Lelieve continued with inappropriate communications and relations with the student even after she switched schools. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office also took a report, but determined criminal charges had not been warranted at that time.
Do you understand the charges against you? Yes, sir.
Lelieve wasn't charged until this week, and there was no mention of any sexual relationship until now. The girl didn't tell detectives until this year that he allegedly had sex with her when she was 13 years old. While the initial investigation did not find anything criminal, it did determine Lelieve's actions were concerning and he went outside his boundaries as a teacher. Right now, he is still being held at the jail in Seminole County without bond while his now criminal case works its way through the courts. In the newsroom, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
We're following the latest now on a crash investigation that sent the side of a local home up in flames.
This happened earlier today in Poinciana. Osceola County Fire Rescue shared these photos with us showing the fire that the crash caused and the aftermath of all the damage. News 6's Mike Valenti spoke with the woman who lives there, who says she was just feet from being in the car's path.
You can see the damage left behind after that car drove right up into the back of this house. You take a look at all of this and think things could have been so much worse.
And then the house went up in flames.
How are you feeling?
Better now.
It's terrifying.
It is. Yes, it is. It's scary.
There's no way that Zelina Ali Singh can stay in this house tonight.
Be careful. Don't come with much water.
But if she's worried about herself, Singh does not show it.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Singh had just gotten home Thursday morning after her shift driving a school bus, and she wanted to do some gardening.
And I was planting a flower plant. The next thing I know, a car passed me by and it hit the door and it went up in flames. And I came around to look for the driver. Then we take him out.
You took the driver out?
Yeah, I helped him to come out. Yeah, he was okay too, but I opened the door for him.
That driver, according to Osceola County Fire, was in one of the two vehicles involved in a head-on crash on Bordeaux Road, causing one of the cars to barrel into the home that Singh's rented for the last 3 years.
Saw the car, then I looked up and I saw the fire and I ran around quickly over here.
Singh was okay, and so was her uncle, who was in the bathroom at the time. And she's hoping the best for the driver, too.
I think people listening to this would applaud you for your presence of mind in that moment to know, okay, I got to help this driver out.
Yes, I have to, because I'm a school bus driver.
Osceola County Fire says 2 people were taken to the hospital, 1 from each of the cars involved. Now, Singh says she estimates this damage is going to end up costing thousands of dollars, but fortunately, she does have renter's insurance. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti reporting in Poinciana. Back to you.
Mike, thank you. New documents may finally help explain what forced people out of the Rialto apartments 2 weeks ago. Tenants were evacuated from their homes after signs of structural problems. And now engineers say they found a large void under part of the building. News 6's Alex Cook is live right now. And Alex, what do these new findings of this apparent void or gap tell us?
Well, first, let me show you this new notice that Orange County just put on the building. It's dated today. It says the structure is deemed unsafe for human occupancy. And they put that there after this report was released. It goes into detail about a large gap underneath the building that led to the shift that forced people trapped in their homes to evacuate 2 weeks ago. Take a look at the report. The engineers examining the Rialto sent this report to Orange County on Wednesday.
It offers the clearest explanation of what went wrong yet. It describes a gap between the soil and the ground level slab. In simple terms, investigators say part of the building appears to have lost the support underneath it. Part of that gap was underneath a load-bearing wall. And it gets even more specific. Engineers say that void is about 3 feet deep and about 15 feet across.
Investigators believe that's what led to the downward movement that jammed people's doors, trapping them in their homes before the building was evacuated 2 weeks ago. The findings also describe other gaps under the building in many spots, ranging in size from 1/2 inch to 4 inches.
And for the people who lived here, this might be the most important line in the report. The building is safe for the investigators to walk in and out, but not for the people who live here to move back in full time.
The engineers say they're working to put temporary supports in those gaps and tests to make sure more gaps won't appear. And they expect the whole process could take over 2 months. And the county makes clear that this isn't going to be a quick fix. After those initial temporary repairs that might take over 2 months, they're still going to need to re-permit and approve everything before people might be able to move back in. So it's still a long road ahead before things go back to normal here. But live in Orlando, Alex Cook, News 6.
All right, Alex, thank you. In just hours, the next big challenge for the 4-person Artemis 2 crew is about to begin. The rocket roared into the sky last night, And now the Orion capsule is orbiting Earth. Next up, a major engine burn to send it on course for the moon. A critical step for the mission's success. News 6 meteorologist Jonathan Kagas is tracking the latest updates for us. And Jonathan, the question we're all wondering, is the crew ready?
Yeah, and Lisa, we were talking earlier, this is kind of the go, no go. Either they come back to Earth or they continue their path along to the moon. And we just got word that the mission control has pulled go for this critical translunar injection burn. This burn, again, commits the crew to making the trip around the moon. It also commits them to the splashdown point in the Pacific Ocean. So a very important step coming up. And again, of course, that splashdown expected in about 9 days or so. The burn itself is scheduled coming up in a couple of hours to happen at 7:49. The spacecraft is going to ignite its main engine on the service module there for about 5 minutes and 49 seconds, and then the astronauts will be on their way again to the moon. If the burn goes well, the spacecraft is going to loop around the far side of the moon, of course, and the free return trajectory brings the crew back to Earth with that splashdown in the Pacific Ocean. If the burn happens and goes wrong partway through, the trajectory may not close properly. I'm watching this, of course, closely, and we will have another update as we get closer, again, coming up in our 6 o'clock hour. But exciting stuff. Again, the important change from the last time we talked is that Mission Control has pulled that go, guys.
That is what we like to see. Jonathan Kagas, thank you so much for that update. We appreciate it. Well, it seems some colorful crosswalks in Orlando never fully went away.
Coming up, why some of those blacked out crosswalks are now chipping away, and the new questions we have for FDOT.
A controversy that sparked outrage last year is back in the spotlight after colorful crosswalks across Orlando were painted over. Some are now reappearing. Black paint meant to cover them up is chipping, revealing bright colors underneath. Our newsroom got a tip that FDOT is back out repainting crosswalks they've already covered. Your Orange County community correspondent, Jana Manohalal, went downtown looking for where these crosswalks are.
I'm at the corner of Anderson and Summerlin because I want to show you what this crosswalk looks like. It's supposed to be all black after FDOT came through and repainted the colorful crosswalks, but look at this. It's still bright green. That black paint is starting to chip. All right, I'm back in the car right now because where we're going is Bundy and South Street. Now, Bundy and South Street is where we initially got the tip that FDOT was back out repainting crosswalks. Even the crosswalks here on Bundy and South are also asphalt, so there's no green peeping up from there or no fresh black paint on those crosswalks either. As I was driving, I remembered I saw FDOT on a crosswalk in downtown Orlando on Wednesday morning, so I went back around to see what they had done. I was able to catch a quick clip of FDOT packing up. Now, I didn't see any paintbrushes or anything being used at the time, just them picking up some cones, but look at what the crosswalk looks like now. Looks like a fresh coat of black paint. You've still got a little bit of green peeking through right there on the white part. But other than that, that black looks fresh and brand new. FDOT covered all colorful crosswalks last year following an executive order from President Donald Trump to remove distracting road art nationwide. It led to lots of controversy, especially over the rainbow crosswalk at the Pulse nightclub memorial on Orlando Ave. After a News 6 investigation, we realized FDOT was spending thousands of dollars on just paint to cover this up. I have reached out to the Florida Department of Transportation to get any kind of confirmation on whether or not they were out here repainting these crosswalks on Wednesday morning, but we have not heard back yet. When we do, we'll update you here and on clickorlando.com. For now in downtown Orlando, I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jada Manahalal, News 6.
All right, now we want to check in with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. It's been an active afternoon on the radar for us.
Yeah, obviously we'll take what we can get here. It's not going to end the drought, as meteorologist Julie Broughton has been showing you the new drought numbers from their release earlier today. But obviously we have to start somewhere, and this is one of the better afternoons that we've had in terms of helping things out. The heaviest stuff now, taking a trip up the turnpike pretty much. Claremont, Mineola, good evening. We have the heaviest rain, even some lightning strikes around, maybe some small hail trying to get going. So that purple core there. Just to the west of us in Montverde, Asatula, this is an early heads up. You're likely seeing the darker skies off to your south and east. A few showers already starting on the south side of town. Leesburg and Tavares, this cell or this cluster of cells is getting ready to head in your direction within the next 15 to 20 minutes. Zooming out for you, also closer to the I-95 corridor. Titusville, we're looking pretty good right now. We do have a few very light showers moving away from town. Mims and Scottsmore as well. And then to the west of us in Ponce Inlet and Edgewater, we obviously could use the rain. Most of this is closer to Lake Helen into Cassadaga tonight as we're watching it move from pretty much the Atlantic back inland from southeast to northwest. Through 6, 7 o'clock, I think we're going to keep steady stream, pretty much the turnpike in points west, at least with the steadiest opportunity for some rain, and then just a few more scattered areas as we head toward I-95. There's 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning with a few more scattered downpours. With that wind shift we were talking about yesterday out of the south and east, that's helping to pull in some of that extra moisture to get these extra downpours and a few rumbles of thunder going today. There's 5 o'clock on your Friday. I think by this point, most of us are dry. Just a couple of stray downpours, rogue rumble of thunder in the mix. And I think that's what we continue to carry with us as we move through Easter weekend. Here's a live look, Port Canaveral, Brevard County, with our Launch Credit Union camera. Good thing the launch was not for today. Temperatures back to the mid-70s with a mainly cloudy sky right now. The breeze at about 15 miles an hour. Again, working out of the south and east. We're at 75 in New Smyrna, 80 in Mount Dora. You can clearly see where we've had the rain. Kissimmee, we are now hanging around 70. 82 in Groveland. That's going to change the next time we talk, as that downpour is kind of sliding through right now. We'll continue to watch those temperatures fall a little bit where we get the rain cooled air. Tomorrow morning, we're starting things off into the mid to upper 60s, 69 in Titusville. We'll start our day in Daytona back to the upper 60s as well. High temperatures tomorrow, pretty much the same ballpark as today. Low to mid 80s inland, hanging around 80 degrees along the coast. And our rain chances, again, go up to about 30% as we move into the day tomorrow. Rain chances staying with us again as we move into Saturday. Orlando Pride in town tomorrow. All that rain should be out of there by the time the match begins. Easter Sunday, just doing a little bit of dodging, I think, especially along the coast. Kind of the same pattern going forward as we are in today. Rain chances do go up even further with a cold front Monday and Tuesday. You see what it does to our temperatures, guys. It takes us right back into the 70s.
All right. Jonathan, thank you. Well, from rockets to Wall Street, SpaceX is making a major move.
Reports say an IPO filing is in the works and it could shake up the market. Coming up, why this possible launch into the stock market is getting so much attention.
Your Thursday evening traffic alert. Just make sure you're paying attention overnight. We're going to see those routine lane closures up on the northern portion of the Florida Turnpike and those midsections. I'm talking I-4 east and westbound between the Turnpike and 528. Always feel like I'm a parrot repeating myself this stuff to you guys, but someone out there needs to know about it. Also, construction taking place along Goldenrod. We're starting to see a lot of our local streets see some construction just south here of the university, south of Aloma area. Just be cautious as you're cruising through. And then, of course, things nice and clear along I-95, but some minor slowdowns further south as you head towards 520. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely. I'll catch you in the morning.
I'm News 6 anchor Louis Bold, and Nestle is on the hunt for a KitKat thief, and SpaceX is going public. Let's get over to Maribel Aber in today's Money Matters. And Maribel, that move could make Elon Musk even richer.
Louis, SpaceX, the rocket company owned by Elon Musk, confidentially filed plans for an IPO on Wednesday. Bloomberg and the Wall Street Journal were actually among the first to report on it, citing sources close to the plan. The reports describe the potential move as the biggest IPO of all time, if you can imagine. Earlier this year, Musk merged SpaceX with his artificial intelligence entity xAI. The SEC said it had no comment on the matter. SpaceX did not immediately respond to media requests, but wow, we'll be watching that one real close, Louis.
Of course. And switching gears here, who would steal 12 tons of candy bars? Maribel, it has Nestle out here on the hunt.
It does. The search is on, Louis, for 12 tons of the stolen KitKat bars, and Nestle wants the public's help. That's a lot. The candy was taken from a delivery truck in Italy last month. Investigators say it may be moving through illegal distribution channels. Nestle launched an online tool where customers can enter a wrapper's batch code to check and get next steps if it's part of the stolen shipment. A unique feature about the stolen bars, they aren't traditional KitKats to snap apart, so you can't break me off a piece of that, Lewis.
Okay.
They're shaped like these Formula One race cars, promoting the company's multi-year partnership with the sport. The tracking link is on Nestle's website and all of its social media channels. I don't know. Lewis, if it's in your tummy.
Listen, not the KitKat caper. Maribel, thank you so much. Remember, to get the latest money and consumer news anytime, just head to our website, clickorlando.com.
I mean, who doesn't love a Kit Kat?
Caper.
That's pretty good.
stuff, yeah.
But to steal that many, that's a lot.
That is.
Check eBay or something. I don't know.
I don't know how long it'll be good for.
Yeah.
President Trump's top law enforcement officer now ousted.
Tonight, Attorney General Pam Bundy is out, and the replacement could shake up the Justice Department. Coming up, what led to her sudden exit and who is now running the Justice Department. Plus, a 50-year-old mystery finally solved, how new evidence links Ted Bundy to a murder, and the breakthrough investigators say could help close even more cases. Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We're following several top stories for you right now. Internal records show the Seminole County School District and the Sheriff's Office investigated a now former teacher's relationship with a student 2 years before he was arrested. Daniel Lalive is accused of sexual battery and grooming a girl when she was a student at Tuscaloosa Middle School. He's being held on no bond.
An update to the evacuated Rialto apartment complex in Dr. Phillips. Orange County investigators have found a gap between the soil and ground level concrete slabs. That lack of soil there caused the concrete slab to shift, they say. The county says crews are working to install temporary supports below the slabs.
In just hours, the next big challenge for the 4-person Artemis 2 crew is about to begin. The rocket roared into the sky last night, and now the Orion capsule is orbiting Earth. Next up, a major engine burn to send it on course for the moon, a critical step for the mission's success. It's set for 7:49.
First, though, a live look from our Field Team 6 vehicle on the road right now. This is on the Turnpike in Lake County, where those showers are coming down.
It has been a messy day for a lot of Central Florida. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegis will guide you through it.
Yeah, guys, we were just talking about yesterday about Lake County being re-added to the burn ban because our drought numbers got above that magic 500 number. This is going to help a little bit. Certainly, the steadiest rain of the afternoon has been falling in parts of West Orange County. We were talking yesterday; they were basically going to follow the Turnpike. Certainly, the opportunity for some scattered stuff closer to I-4 from about Daytona into Orange City, Ponce Inlet, Edgewater through Volusia County. But the heaviest stuff with even a couple of lightning strikes now drifting back up into Asatula, Leesburg. We were just talking about you about 10 minutes ago. You have about another 5 minutes before we get some really heavy rain. Early heads up in Fruitland Park in the Villages. If you have to get the dog out, might want to do it right now. These are moving pretty quick tonight from southeast to northwest. A few lightning strikes far enough away that now is a good time to do that before we have that little downpour and a few rumbles of thunder sliding through. Eventually, this is going to make its way up to Bellevue and Ocala, parts of West Marion County. We'll put the tracker on this for you and talk about where these downpours and a few rumbles of thunder are headed coming up at about 5:47, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Turning now to Palm Bay, where we're hearing of upgraded charges to a gruesome discovery in an abandoned place that's just become infamous for finding dead bodies. This 19-year-old now arrested in connection to a body found at the compound. Now, we told you about the story on Monday when investigators say suitcases with a person's remains inside were found in this abandoned neighborhood. Now, your Palm Bay community correspondent James Sparvero tells us the suspect is not only accused of dumping the body, but killing the victim as well.
The young man, police say, dumped 2 suitcases stuffed with human remains in the tall grass at the compound, is now facing a murder charge, too.
Go ahead and bring up Lucas Jones.
For the second time since last Saturday, 19-year-old Lucas Jones was arrested and brought here to the Brevard County Jail. Thursday afternoon in the jail courtroom, Jones looked at my camera, raised his eyebrows, and shook his head just before Judge Thomas Brown ruled to keep the teen in jail this time without a bond.
You've now been arrested on a new charge of murder, I believe first degree.
So to this point, police have told us the facts. They say backup charges against Jones, like abusing a dead body, but a new arrest affidavit still isn't available. So we don't know yet how police say Jones killed Collie Daniel. Jones and Daniel lived close to one another in Indy Atlantic, and back on March 20th, Jones's girlfriend told police she saw Daniel at Jones's house in Jones's bed, but she wasn't sure whether he was sleeping or unconscious. When police found the suitcases, they say along with the remains, which took days to confirm were Daniel's, a package with Jones's name on it was in one too. Police say they also found a knife in a suitcase, which was the same kind as another knife they found at Jones's house, which police say had bloodstains in it. And this new murder has revitalized the debate over developing Palm Bay's compound finally. You can watch my coverage earlier this week on clickorlando.com to see where Palm Bay's progress stands on that. We're also going to put on our website the facts behind Jones's murder arrest as soon as the new affidavit is available. In Brevard County, I'm your Palm Bay community correspondent, James Sparvero, News 6.
President Trump has fired America's top law enforcement officer. Attorney General Pam Bundy is out, and a search for a permanent replacement is now on. Bundy is a longtime Trump ally and former legal team member during his first impeachment. Sources say the president is frustrated with how she handled his priorities, including cases against his political adversaries. Trump called Bundy a great American patriot and loyal friend, saying she will transition to a private sector role. The Senate will confirm his next pick, who could possibly be the EPA administrator, Lee Zeldin. Bundy released a statement saying she was eternally grateful for President Trump and her time as Attorney General, and said she is thrilled about her private sector role.
Well, do you remember this body cam video from a Flagler County kidnapping, which turned into a high-speed deputy chase? We're now learning the 15-year-old involved is accused of helping a registered sex offender to kidnap the 11-year-old boy in this story. This all started back in January. Registered sex offender Darnell Hairston was pulled over with 2 juveniles in his car. The 15-year-old Junior Bishop then took the wheel, leading deputies on a high-speed chase before being arrested. The other juvenile in the car was a missing child out of St. Johns County, and investigators now say Bishop helped Hairston to kidnap him. Bishop is now charged as an adult with principal to armed kidnapping on top of multiple felony charges from that night. And authorities say their investigation proved he was involved fully in luring the victim to Hairston.
Developing now, a serial killer case that haunted a family for more than 50 years is finally closed. New DNA evidence now definitively links Ted Bundy to the murder of a 17-year-old who disappeared after a Halloween party back in 1974. Investigators say today's technology provided what they never had before: proof. As CBS's Matt Gutman reports, the breakthrough brings long-awaited closure and could help solve even more cases.
We now have definitive evidence proving that Theodore Ted Bundy murdered Laura, and we can announce that this case is officially closed.
For over 5 decades, Laura and Amy's family has had to live with not knowing for certain who killed their daughter. But thanks to advances in DNA testing, evidence from 1974 has now yielded an answer definitively linking Ted Bundy to the crime.
We were really close.
On Wednesday, Amy's sister spoke for the family.
It's really quite amazing that people even are still interested in Laura's case. But I appreciate it. I really appreciate the evidence team.
Bundy gained widespread notoriety through a string of gruesome murders of young women in the 1970s.
He didn't look like anybody's notion of somebody who would tear apart young girls.
His life and crimes the subject of documentaries and films. Just before his 1989 execution, Bundy admitted to murdering Amy, which brought the family some relief at the time.
Just glad it's over.
Investigators say the confession alone was not enough to close the case. Utah officials now say they believe the DNA profile in this case will help solve other cases involving Bundy.
Now, because of new technology and the ability to test very small bits of DNA, we were able to run that through a database and make a conclusive match to Ted Bundy, allowing the family and everyone else to have finality when it comes to this tragedy.
Matt Gutman, CBS News.
Ted Bundy was executed in Florida in 1989. There are several murders linked to him in the late 70s in Tallahassee, including the murder of 2 sorority women at Florida State University.
Now at 5, a Florida lawmaker says he's taking tax relief straight to the voters. State Rep Ryan Chamberlain says he'll bypass the legislature to push a property tax ban through a citizen initiative. He wants to block all ad valorem taxes on real estate and force lawmakers to figure out new funding for police, fire, and schools. Chamberlain says he doesn't expect any major action from lawmakers this year, so he's taking matters into his own hands.
I'm very pessimistic about whether or not we're going to see any major, I'd love to see it, but whether or not we're going to see any major relief or anything on the ballot. It could happen, but I'm not feeling it.
Petition deadlines mean this initiative wouldn't reach voters until November of 2028. All right, well, I guess we have to do it. Let's talk about last night's Orlando Magic game. It was not an enjoyable one. The score left fans feeling it today.
The team suffered an embarrassing loss at home last night against the Atlanta Hawks. Sports director Jamie Say joins us now live in studio. And Jamie, this loss came at the worst time for the Magic.
Yeah, I mean, NBA teams want to be playing their best basketball this time of year when they are playoff bound, when they're postseason bound. Now, the Magic are not playing their best basketball at all. They only have 6 regular season games left before the postseason. And now, 3 days after they lost in Toronto by 52 points, they did that Sunday. Well, the Magic lost by 29 at home last night to the Atlanta Hawks. They've now dropped 8 of the last 10 games. Magic allowed the Hawks to score 47 points in the second quarter, really just to take over the game. The defensive effort was lacking, but fans' frustration at the arena was not. The Magic heard boos in the Kia Center last night.
Rightfully so. Did we put out the effort that we needed to? Did we have the energy that we needed to? Nope. And we deserve to give these fans a better product on nights like this.
I think we need to build an identity as a team. I mean, obviously, as a group, together with the staff, we got to pinpoint what the problems are, strategy-wise. And then, like I said, the other pieces, a mentality, a sense of pride that should be expected, honestly.
All right, so the Magic dropped to 9th place in the Eastern Conference with a loss. They were in 8th, now they're 9th. The top 6 teams per conference get into the playoffs. They get those playoff runs. Then seeds 7 through 10 have to play their way in. So again, the Magic have 6 games left in the regular season. They visit Dallas tomorrow. Then they go to New Orleans, and then they've got 2 home games next week, Detroit and Minnesota on Monday and Wednesday. Those are their final 2 home games of the regular season. Again, 6 games left. They're 2 games out of 6th place, but it's difficult to make it up because you have to rely on what other teams are doing as well.
Yeah, you got to win at home.
You've got to win at home. They've got 2 more home games left. They have to put out a better effort than they did last night.
This is what you call backing into the playoffs, right? Or backing into the play-in game.
You know, it's so strange because March started out very well for this team. They had won 6 in a row, and then they had lost 7 in a row, and they've had some bad losses in there, and then certainly the Toronto game and last night's game, not good at all.
Rough.
Worrisome.
Been a little bit of a roller coaster.
It's been a big roller coaster.
Jamie, thank you. Well, $500,000 and a city auditor facing some tough questions.
Tonight, Daytona Beach leaders are under the microscope after an audit revealed major spending questions in the fire department. Coming up, what the auditor found and how this could impact your wallet.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
Taking a live look at our camera in Daytona Beach, where tonight the city auditor is addressing concerns and accusations thrown at him after presenting his findings to the city commission. It's all over $500,000 in spending at the Daytona Beach Fire Department.
His audit started in the fall when some city employee whistleblowers brought concerns to elected officials. His report, obtained this week by News 6, says there have been major violations in the use of P cards or purchasing cards. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed spoke with the auditor today.
The city auditor here in Daytona Beach is going department by department with his audit, and he started with the fire department. He presented his findings to the city commission here last night and says he was surprised by the line of questioning thrown at him. He gave us more documentation today. He says backs his investigation.
The message is clear. You need to push back an auditor. You need to question audit finding. Not you need to implement corrective action.
City Auditor Albert Bellichew says these emails he gave me show he sent the fire chief and city manager his findings back in February and told them to reply with questions or concerns. He says neither did, but Wednesday night,
the seemingly subjective report furnished by the city auditor unfairly and potentially negligently disparages and brings harmful discredit upon the men and women of the fire department.
His presentation of the findings to the city commission led to visibly high tensions in the meeting that went until almost 2 a.m.
You put it out there that it's questionable, and then you don't come back and say, I'm going to follow up on this, and that looks shady to me.
Bellichew's report shows between 2021 and 2025, he found about $500,000 charged to city purchasing cards or P cards, largely for vehicle repairs and fuel, which is against city rules. He also flagged 14 employees taking city cars home with no mileage logs, more than $50,000 spent on fast food by fire leadership, hundreds of purchases with missing receipts, $50,000 in unexplained tech buys, and what he called questionable purchases. He sent us today dozens of receipts for the ones turned in too that he used for documentation. Bellichew recommended updating and tightening policies for proof of spending.
My job will be to highlight some of the things I highlight for improvement of internal control. I'm not a prosecutor. I cannot prosecute people. I am not a detective.
And the state is conducting its own audit that, I'm told, should be finished within the next couple of months. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
All right, let's get a check of your weather. These storms or this rain, I guess it's heavy rain, right? Is there any lightning associated with this, Jonathan?
Just a little bit. It's not crazy. It's certainly not what we see in June, July, or August. But nonetheless, we do have a couple of strikes out there. You see the counter above my shoulder there. About 5 or 6 strikes over the last 15 minutes. And that's primarily with this cluster of cells that are sliding through the north side of West Orange County on over pretty much Lake Apopka. Tonight we have a downpour heading into Apopka, Zellwood this evening. The heaviest rain is now moving through parts of Lake County into Asatula, Hawthorne, Leesburg. We've been checking in on you guys. Same for us in Coleman as this cell continues to lift at about 20 to 25 miles an hour just off towards the north and west. I will pause the loop here. Just wanted to show you the general motion of this cell that was moving. I'll put a tracker on this for you as it works its way from about Coleman toward Fruitland Park tonight. And again, about to 25-ish to 30 miles an hour. Fruitland Park, again, this is pretty much right on top of us the next 3 to 5 minutes. Royal in about 15 minutes. Cherry Lake in about 10 to 12 minutes, and then Wildwood coming up in about 5 to 10 minutes. So a few of these downpours tonight, most of them are going to cling towards the turnpike. We will see a few more try to flare up overnight closer to I-95. We have a few scattered downpours for us in between Deltona and Orange City right now. There's 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Same kind of pattern as we keep our winds kind of locked out of the south and east off of the Atlantic. It's bringing in moisture to help generate some of those downpours. There we go as we move through the overnight hours of Friday into early Saturday. 6 o'clock in the morning, if you have plans early, I think everything is on the drier side. We'll try to bubble up a few more storms during the afternoon. Rain chances over the weekend only at about 20 to 30%. Latest drought monitor out today, and it got worse. You're kind of expecting this. Again, the severe drought category, that's going to be that orange shaded area. You see that right there. Expanded into Seminole County, Northwest Orange County, and then parts of Brevard. The only spot that is in the moderate drought, again, that's bad in and of itself, is back to Kissimmee to the Orlando metro area and parts of central Brevard, closer to Merritt Island. Island tonight. Again, the deficit continues to grow. Orlando, we're about 5¼ inches below normal, about 4½ in Daytona Beach, 3½ inches just about for us in Sanford, and we are closing in on about that number for us in Leesburg. The good news is there's some more rain in sight over the next 7 days. This is the forecast as we move into an early next work week. You see the orange there representing where we have the opportunity for 2 to 4 inches of rain. That's mainly going to be across east central Florida and closer to the I-95 corridor. There's a couple of reasons for that. We're going to try to bubble up some more downpours over the next couple of days, and you see that right here. There's Sunday, Easter Sunday, 4 to 5 o'clock. Just a few scattered downpours, especially on the east side of central Florida. But then we have this guy right here. It's a cold front slicing through parts of the deep south, and then it kind of parks itself right over central Florida. There's Monday with some scattered thunderstorms in the mix. That's going to continue again on Tuesday, and you see where we have the opportunity for the rain to kind of stall out a little bit, at the front to stall out, and then the rain using that as a pathway to kind of set up mainly south of Orlando and then right along the I-95 corridor. So the opportunity is going to be there for some much needed rain. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
Temperatures back to the mid-80s tomorrow, 87 on Easter Sunday, a little bit cooler next work week.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, a new animal shelter just broke ground in Orange County.
And it is giving more room to find your forever furry friend. Coming up, Trooper Steve visited the service facility to show us what to expect when it opens.
By morning, the Artemis astronauts should officially be on their way to the moon.
We'll have the overnight updates on the historic mission, plus the local community fighting back against dozens of new homes.
We'll see you for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
Well, less than a week after Pet Alliance of Greater Orlando opened a brand new shelter, Orange County Animal Services broke ground on a new shelter of its own. The shelter can hold hundreds of cats and dogs and comes with a $49 million price tag. Today on Trooper Steve on Patrol, Steve goes out to the groundbreaking, gives us an update on when it could open.
Because at the end of the day, it's about two groups. It's about the rescues in this community, and it's about the men and women who serve here at Orange County Animal Services. So we're going to start the ceremony. We're going to let you guys go through the entire formal stuff, talk to a few commissioners, see how they're excited what's coming here, and then we'll tag this thing out.
3, 2, 1, go!
Our staff here, they lead with their hearts to deliver the service to our community. And so I'm just happy for them.
And I asked one question: when can we expect this done? Rough estimate, about 18 months. And in my mind, 18 months from today is not a bad gig.
Hey, if you'd like to know more about this cool new shelter, it will help with local animals. You can visit this story on our website, clickorlando.com. You can watch weekdays at 2:30 in the afternoon and 8:30 at night on the News 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com.
News 6 at 6 is next, and coming up today marks 2 weeks since some of our neighbors were forced out of their apartments due to structural issues.
Yeah, we've been following this story really closely from the beginning, with some neighbors sharing how they feel.
I'm beyond frustrated. I am enraged.
Coming up, what engineers have uncovered about how the building's foundation was constructed.
A terrifying scene in Poinciana as a car barrels into the back of this home. Coming up, we tell you about the near miss at the center of this.
I'm beyond frustrated. I am enraged.
Neighbors out of their home for 2 straight weeks. Now on News 6 at 6, we're learning there may have been foundation issues at an Orange County apartment building. Plus, a wild story out of Osceola County as a car crash almost turns tragic.
And I was planting a flower plant. The next thing I know, a car passed me by and hit the door and it went up in flames. And I came around to look for the driver.
And the Jags calling the city beautiful home in 2027. We're looking at what this could mean for the people living in the community surrounding Camping World Stadium. News 6 at 6 starts now.
We are starting you off tonight with a live look from our field team 6 as the rain comes down in parts of Central Florida.
We have had dry conditions for months here, so the rain is great. We welcome it, but we could use some more, actually.
Yeah.
Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas joins us now with a look at your forecast tonight.
Yeah, the way to get us out of this drought, we need the sustained rain. We need the wet season to get here, and of course, typically that's about 2 months away from where we stand right now. We do have a couple of downpours. Obviously, we'll take what we can get. This one of these guys, no lightning associated with this. We've been watching you guys in Lake Helen and Casadega for a little bit of time. That system or that downpour has now slid closer toward us into land. Again, the darker reds indicating the relatively speaking heavier rain, but most of this is on the lighter side. And again, no lightning associated with that one. We'll go further west, closer to the Florida Turnpike, West Orange County. We had a downpour move through Apopka a little bit ago where we do have some lightning hanging out closer to Asatula. That's going to be heading towards Tavares in a little bit. Eustis likely going to get clipped by a little bit of rain, but the lightning should stay to our west. To Fruitland Park, we had that tracker on that for you guys. The heaviest stuff is on the west side of town now. This is sliding, continuing to slide up the turnpike. So Wildwood, you're up next in about 5 minutes with some pretty heavy rain. Same for us in the Villages in about 10 to 15 minutes as this kind of really takes a trip up the turnpike and then eventually up I-75. I'll show you exactly where these cells are going for the rest of the night and talk about Easter weekend coming up at about 6:17, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Happening right now, the Artemis 2 astronauts aboard the Orion spacecraft are circling the Earth for about another 2 hours before they embark on a historic trip around the moon. Final checks are done and systems are a go for the critical translunar injection burn that's supposed to happen at 7:49 tonight. It is the final engine burn that will either send the astronauts around the moon if successful or end the mission early. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegas will be breaking all of this down for us coming up at around 6:25. New documents may finally help explain what forced people out of the Rialto apartments 2 weeks ago.
Tenants were evacuated from their homes after signs of structural problems, and now engineers say they found a big void under a part of that building. Alex Cook is live out there with the new findings. Alex?
That's right, Matt. And first, take a look at this. This is a new notice posted on the building just today, dated today, that says the structure is deemed unsafe for human occupancy. That comes from Orange County after this report, where the engineers say that a gap under the building caused those problems. Let's take a look at the report. The engineers examining the Rialto sent this report to Orange County on Wednesday. It offers the clearest explanation of what went wrong yet. It describes a gap between the soil and the ground level slab. In simple terms, investigators say part of the building appears to have lost the support underneath it. Part of that gap was underneath a load-bearing wall. And it gets even more specific. Engineers say that void is about 3 feet deep and about 15 feet across. Investigators believe that's what led to the downward movement that jammed people's doors, trapping them in their homes before the building was evacuated 2 weeks ago. The findings also describe other gaps under the building in many spots, ranging in size from 1/2 inch to 4 inches. And for the people who lived here, this might be the most important line in the report. The building is safe for the investigators to walk in and out, but not for the people who live here to move back in full time. The engineers say they're working to put temporary supports in those gaps and tests to make sure more gaps won't appear. And they expect the whole process could take over 2 months. And those temporary fixes should take over 60 days, but the county does say that this could be a lot longer than that because they're going to have to approve any permits and approvals for permanent fixes in the future. But I'll be out here trying to talk to those residents as they deal with these new findings. Live in Dr. Phillips, Alex Cook, News 6.
Alex, thank you. Now to a scary scene after a woman was almost run over by a car in her own backyard.
Tonight, she is speaking exclusively with News 6, right where it all happened. While things could have been much worse, she spoke with News 6's Mike Valenti about how she jumped in to help even amid the chaos.
You can see the damage left behind after that car drove right up into the back of this house. You take a look at all of this and think things could have been so much worse.
And then the house went up in flames.
How are you feeling?
Better now.
It's terrifying.
It is. Yes, it is. It's scary.
There's no way that Zelina Ali Singh can stay in this house tonight.
Be careful. Don't come with much water.
But if she's worried about herself, Singh does not show it.
Everything's going to be okay.
Singh had just gotten home Thursday morning after her shift driving a school bus, and she wanted to do some gardening.
And I was planting a flower plant. The next thing I know, a car passed me by and it hit the door and it went up in flames. And I came around to look for the driver. And we take him out.
You took the driver out?
Yeah, I helped him to come out. Yeah. He was okay too, but I opened the door for him.
That driver, according to Osceola County Fire, was in one of the two vehicles involved in a head-on crash on Bordeaux Road, causing one of the cars to barrel into the home that Singh's rented for the last 3 years.
Saw the car, then I looked up and I saw the fire and I ran around quickly over here.
Singh was okay, and so was her uncle, who was in the bathroom at the time. And she's hoping the best for the driver, too.
I think people listening to this would applaud you for your presence of mind in that moment to know, okay, I got to help this driver out.
Yes, I have to, because I'm a school bus driver.
Osceola County Fire says 2 people were taken to the hospital, 1 from each of the cars involved. Now, Singh says she estimates this damage is going to end up costing thousands of dollars, but fortunately, she does have renter's insurance. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti reporting in Poinciana. Back to you.
Developing tonight, we're now learning a man set to be put to death in Florida will not be executed before his current death warrant expires. This is James Duckett, a former mascot cop convicted of raping and killing a child. He was supposed to be put to death 2 days ago, but the state Supreme Court delayed it for further DNA testing. Duckett's team has until Tuesday to make their case, while the state response is to that brief. It has to be due by Wednesday. Now, either way, the governor will need to sign a new death warrant if Duckett's conviction is upheld. Meanwhile, in Brevard County, upgraded charges in a gruesome discovery in an abandoned place that's known for finding dead bodies.
On Monday, we learned suitcases with human remains inside were found in the compound in Palm Bay. The teen is now accused of killing the victim as well as dumping the body. 19-year-old Lucas Jones was arrested again and taken back to the Brevard County Jail for the second time since last Saturday. This time, a judge denied his bond. We are working to learn how police say Jones killed 28-year-old Collie Daniel from Indy Atlantic. Also developing tonight, we're getting a first-hand look at the moments when deputies in Martin County arrested golf icon Tiger Woods. Woods walked away from a rollover crash last Friday in Jupiter. No one was hurt, but deputies say they found 2 hydrocodone pills in his pocket, and they say he failed a sobriety test. Woods told deputies he looked down at his phone just before the crash. He was charged with driving under the influence. Woods has pleaded not guilty to those charges.
Well, a controversy that sparked outrage last year is back in the spotlight after colorful crosswalks across Orlando were painted over. Some of them, as you can see, are now reappearing. Black paint meant to cover them up is chipping, revealing the bright colors underneath. Our newsroom got a tip that FDOT is back out repainting crosswalks they've already covered. Your Orange County community correspondent Jana Manohalal went downtown looking for where these crosswalks are.
I'm at the corner of Anderson and Summerlin because I want to show you what this crosswalk looks like. It's supposed to be all black after FDOT came through and repainted the colorful crosswalks, but look at this. It's still bright green. That black paint is starting to chip. All right, I'm back at the car right now because where we're going is Bundy and South Street. Now, Bundy and South Street is where we initially got the tip that FDOT was back out repainting crosswalks. Even the crosswalks here on Bundy and South are also asphalt, so there's no green peeping up from there or no fresh black paint on those crosswalks either. As I was driving, I remembered I saw FDOT on a crosswalk in downtown Orlando on Wednesday morning, so I went back around to see what they had done. I was able to catch a quick clip of FDOT packing up. Now, I didn't see any paintbrushes or anything being used at the time, just them picking up some cones, but look at what the crosswalk looks like now. Looks like a fresh coat of black paint. You've still got a little bit of green peeking through right there on the white part. But other than that, that black looks fresh and brand new. FDOT covered all colorful crosswalks last year following an executive order from President Donald Trump to remove distracting road art nationwide. It led to lots of controversy, especially over the rainbow crosswalk at the Pulse nightclub memorial on Orlando Ave. After a News 6 investigation, we realized FDOT was spending thousands of dollars on just paint to cover this up. I have reached out to the Florida Department of Transportation to get any kind of confirmation on whether or not they were out here repainting these crosswalks on Wednesday morning, but we have not heard back yet. When we do, we'll update you here and on clickorlando.com. For now in downtown Orlando, I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jada Manahalal, News 6.
A disturbing story out of Seminole County tonight continues to unravel.
What we're now learning about a former teacher accused of having a relationship with a student.
Plus, astronauts on the Artemis 2 mission are all systems go. We're looking at the next step in their trip around the moon.
The Jacksonville Jaguars will be coming here to Camping World Stadium for the 2027 season, but that also means a lot of traffic will be coming right over here in the Paramore area. We'll tell you more about that coming up.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
Some breaking news out of Sumter County right now. The school district and the sheriff's office there are looking into what caused a close call between a train and a school bus. The district superintendent says the back of the bus was clipped by a train this afternoon. It happened at East Central Avenue and North Market Street. This is in Bushnell. Now, we're told no students or staff reported any injuries. Most railroad crossings in Bushnell are closed right now because of this. The moment we get an update on it, we'll bring you that on air and on clickorlando.com.
Internal records obtained by News 6 show the Seminole County School District and the Sheriff's Office investigated a now former teacher's relationship with a student 2 years before he was arrested. This week, we learned that teacher is accused of sexual battery and grooming a girl when she was a student at Tuscaloosa Middle School. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver has been following this story since it broke on Tuesday.
When we found out Daniel Lelieve had resigned amidst allegations he was having inappropriate communications with a student, we wanted to find out exactly what the district knew about his behavior when this alleged relationship took place. These documents we obtained through a public records request have the answer. This week, Daniel Lelieve was arrested by Oviedo police on charges including sexual battery. But in 2024, he was a teacher at Tuscaloosa Middle School, where he's accused of grooming a girl while dating her mother. This investigative report shows Seminole County Public Schools was aware about his interactions with the teen that same year, and they asked him about them. Specifically about how he had become a father figure to the girl, how he showed her special attention and bought her gifts, and frequently communicated with her through emails and video games. The report says Lelieve admitted the optics of his actions did not look great. He was disciplined by the school board for breaking policy and suspended for 3 days, which is noted in this letter from the superintendent. But the district's investigation didn't stop there. The next month, the report says Lelieve continued with inappropriate communications and relations with the student even after she switched schools. The Seminole County Sheriff's Office also took a report, but determined criminal charges had not been warranted at that time.
Do you understand the charges against you? Yes, sir.
Lelieve wasn't charged until this week, and there was no mention of any sexual relationship until now. The girl didn't tell detectives until this year that he allegedly had sex with her when she was 13 years old. While the initial investigation did not find anything criminal, it did determine Lelieve's actions were concerning and he went outside his boundaries as a teacher. Right now, he is still being held at the jail in Seminole County without bond while his now criminal case works its way through the courts. In the newsroom, I'm Catherine Silver, News 6.
Well, traffic, tailgates, and touchdowns. The Jacksonville Jaguars are headed to Orlando. And while the excitement is building, so are concerns in one local community. For people living in Paramore, game day could mean gridlock, blocked streets, and big changes to their Sundays. Your Paramore community correspondent, Jarrell Baker, is hearing from neighbors and what plans the city has before kickoff in 2027.
The Jacksonville Jaguars coming right here to Camping World Stadium in 2027 is excitement for a lot of people, but it also means a lot more traffic coming into the area for people who live right next to Camping World Stadium. I'm your Paramore community correspondent, Jarrell Baker. Now, I spoke with some residents who say they're happy, however, they are worried about all the crowd that the events will bring. Tamara Frazier says this is already reality in her neighborhood. Streets filled in Paramore, traffic backed up for hours during major events at Camping World Stadium.
I typically try to steer away from it just because there is bound to be standstill or just stop streets.
She says what should be a quick trip can turn into a 20-minute delay or longer. And with the Jacksonville Jaguars set to play 10 home games here next year, she's hoping city leaders are already making plans.
Just the events and the influx of traffic that comes during these times, I do think there's opportunity for expansion just to help relieve that.
St. John Baptist Church is right up the street from the stadium.
We just had an event last Tuesday, and they had this soccer game at the stadium. And a lot of my members couldn't get here because the roads was blocked.
Pastor Rawlins Frazier says game days could bring opportunity like extra parking revenue, but also challenges.
So it's going to be a major impact on us as far as my members getting here early enough for we won't be bogged in the traffic. So hopefully I can work something out with the city, or we can sit down and talk.
We reached out to the city about their plans to mitigate traffic, and once we hear back, we'll let you know. I'm your Paramore Community Correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
Well, we are still seeing some rain in parts of Central Florida right now, which is good news. So, Jonathan, how long is this going to stick around?
Yeah, we're going to keep it around for the next couple of hours. These have now drifted kind of north of Orlando. Still a few stray showers in parts of Orange County, but everything that we were watching in Volusia, it's fizzling out tonight. Just a few very, very light showers moving to the northwest of I-4. We'll take it closer in toward DeLand. This is now moving closer to Pearson, if it even holds together. Again, this is falling apart rather quickly. Astor, same deal for us. Where we were watching the thunderstorms, we did have a few lightning strikes. There are literally only a couple left over now. Leesburg, you see the darker reds turn to more orange. Again, we still have a couple of certainly some downpours out there, but things are trying to fizzle out as they move from the south and east back off towards the north and west. Again, Bellevue, we're up next. Same for us on the southwest side of downtown Ocala. Danelle, and I'm watching you as well for these downpours to slide on through. Elsewhere, though, we're looking pretty good. I think this is kind of the only shot we have for the rain tonight. Once we get into the latter stages of the overnight, we'll start to see that opportunity come back. So here's 7, 8 o'clock. I think Future Radar doing a pretty nice job tonight, showing that little cluster of dying downpours as they move to the west. Here's what I'm talking about through the overnight hours. With that same kind of southeasterly flow, the wind bringing in that moisture from the Atlantic, may be able to generate a few downpours, mainly around the turnpike and south and west. Getting into tomorrow, there's 9 o'clock tomorrow, a few of those stray downpours again, clinging right to the coastline. That's going to be 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning, and then maybe a stray pop-up shower or thunderstorm into the afternoon. I do not think tomorrow afternoon is as widespread as what we had today. Once we get into Saturday, I think the same kind of deal. A few showers early, bubbling up a stray downpour, but I think most of your Saturday is going to be on the drier side as well. Here is a live look right now, Port Canaveral, Brevard County, with our Launch Credit Union camera. Air temperatures back into the mid-70s now under that mainly cloudy sky. The breeze is about 15 miles an hour, again, out of the south and east. We were talking about you guys in Groveland a little bit ago. We were still in the low to mid-80s. We now are back to around 70s because of that rain-cooled air. Same for us in Kissimmee. Also at the Orlando International Airport, Hualapa, we are at 77. Denellen, we are checking in at 81. Now here's a look at your forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
Tomorrow morning, we are starting things off into the low to mid 60s. Highs tomorrow into the mid to upper 80s, especially inland. Rain chances again at 30%. That should all be out of here by match time tomorrow. Pride versus Angel City again tomorrow evening, 8 o'clock, Interinco Stadium. Air temperatures back to the mid 70s. Just a few passing clouds in the mix. Otherwise, should be a fantastic evening for the match. 85 degrees on Saturday, 20% shot for a passing shower, 30%, especially along the coast, for a couple of thunderstorms on Easter Sunday. We are warm with temperatures in the upper 80s. A little bit cooler next week with our next system. Those rain chances on the way up next week. We'll be right back.
A good Samaritan stops to help a fellow motorist and is then brutally attacked on a Central Florida expressway. See the exclusive video obtained by News 6, A Good Deed Gone Wrong.
We're taking a live look to the feed from NASA as astronauts circle the Earth before a final boost around the moon.
Yeah, we just told you it is all systems go tonight for the astronauts on the Orion spacecraft. We want to bring in meteorologist Jonathan Kagis in the newsroom, who's been breaking down what exactly the translunar injection burn is exactly, Jonathan.
Yeah, and we were talking about this really since about just before 4:30 when we got the official word that Mission Control gave the astronauts go to make this burn and continue their trajectory and their mission to the moon. So there's a lot of swirly lines on this graphic here, but it's basically right at this point where the capsule is going to be, of course, and that's the burn right there. You see where that big beam of light is going. That's what's going to give them the thrust to get out of Earth's atmosphere, Earth's gravitational pull, and then start heading toward the moon now again. This is going to happen just before 8 o'clock at about 7:49. And this was the go or no-go position, either to come back to Earth if things did not test out right, or continue on that 10-day mission. And of course, we just told you about the go there. So this is going to be a single engine burn that pushes the spacecraft about closer to the moon now. Lasts about 5 minutes and 49 seconds out in that direction. Again, it's not only critical to get around the moon, but it's also critical to get them back home. So everything needs to go perfect at about 7:49.
It's the most important thing.
Yes.
Jonathan, thank you so much. Have yourself a great night.